And here we go. Plane is in the sky. Match number one of the day as Senox set 3 Miramars to kick things off. And the first one here, Senox, as southern as we can get. Usually these planes pass means you have to get some ulterior drop spots in there. For this tournament, we're only 2 Miramar games in. Is everyone ready for every other team's alternate drop spot? Or are we maybe seeing teams, unfortunately, land on top of one another?
And are we maybe going to see a game that really shakes things up a little bit? That's really what I want to see from day 2 here for the PUBG Nations Cup. Through the first 5 matches, it was spoken about a lot yesterday. You know, sort of this top 6 that kind of started to form, even throughout only just 5 matches. Does that translate to day 2? We'll have to wait and see. And obviously, as you said, you get these sort of ulterior, different plane paths that might have to force teams to drop elsewhere. I'm not too sure. I think most teams should be relatively fine with this, just a little bit over Los Leones. I think they'll be able to make the distance. And obviously what we saw yesterday on Miramar, not a lot of contesting either.
Not really. They seem to have made things clear. I'm seeing Turkey jumping in and around Korea. We did see a little bit. I mean, if there was something happening anywhere on the map, Turkey were the ones trying to really make sure they were getting all their vehicle spawns, because they have teams all.
Так, друзья, всем здравствуйте. Все-таки решил я запустить трансляцию. Хоть у меня и болит спина сегодня. В общем, думаю, раз уж начали смотреть, то надо смотреть. Поэтому... Готовьте там что-нибудь вкусненькое. Приятного просмотра. Я пока сейчас все уведомления отправлю. У нас финны сейчас на первом месте с вами с 68 ПТСами, между прочим.
And the other thing that already straight away kind of catches my eye, Brazil, Finland, Korea, all inside of this phase 1 circle. It's only phase 1. You don't want to get too excited for it. But it's the same teams, Toby, that obviously had a great day 1. They're feeling confident. Are they going to be able to translate this phase 1 circle into a good game? Now, of course, previous match, this was our final match yesterday. It was on Mirror.
Так, сейчас быстренько отправлю везде уведомления. Так, у нас с вами уже Индонезия, Германию начинает закрывать. Чувак, или это прошлый? Или это прошлый матч? Да, это у нас файт Вальпоза. Показывают в 5-м матче. Эти хайлайты, когда команды лутаются, блин, в начале игры. Выглядит бредово, конечно. Так, сделаю себя поменьше. Что-то у нас, походу, YouTube решил не отправлять уведомления людям, поэтому надо срочно поставить лайк под стрим, чтобы пришли уведомления людям. Adam, unfortunately, not feeling too well, so Ditz stepping in. Ditz, as I said, hasn't played. I mean, he's been within esports ever since the beginning. He's coached some phenomenal teams, still does, but he hasn't played himself in quite a while.
Ditz is great, but I feel like they missed an opportunity to just sub in paper thin. No one would have even noticed. You could have put Adam, you could have put him in the jersey. I don't think anyone would have been able to tell you the difference. 4 minutes in so far here earlier on Miramar. Not a lot happening, but that could change quickly.
It sure could. China, Vietnam running side by side out of Los Leones as we speak. Our eyes are currently on Japan as they get themselves fitted up, but China seemingly out on top as Haisaki goes down early. And honestly, losing Haisaki for Vietnam, who was a high impact play yesterday. I feel like all the success Vietnam had yesterday came off of a good early engagement.
Так, вроде все. Вроде все отправил. В Дискорде сейчас отправлю и пойдем смотреть. Сегодня я приготовил там себе чипсиков. Не знаю, буду вам мешать или нет. Хотелось бы преимущественно, конечно, на стульчике-то полежать, потому что... Какой шок для спины у меня сегодня. Так-то 3,5 часа сидеть вот это вот. Так, ну чё, первый Мирамар, я так понимаю, первых 3 будет Мирамара, 2 Эрангеля. Скорее всего. Надо открыть окно, что-то жарко.
We know you're only one guy. What are you trying to prove here? They turn around, they find the fast kill, and if you can go into it later, having this many points already in the back without really having risked anything, that is so important.
Dangerous moment here. Shiva hides behind the tree and of course has not been spotted out. I don't think we'll go for the spray from big distance and doesn't really get a good avenue anyway. So Australia get by unscathed. Another team though that did very well on Erangel, but Australia only the 13 points from the 2 matches on Miramar. So they also, kind of like United Kingdom, will be looking to turn those particular fortunes around today.
Exactly. Teams making their way down towards the southwest part of Miramar, Germany, coming in the southern shores. And we talked about potential gatekeepers earlier. This southern shoreline, this scenic route.
Так, ладно, надеюсь, жить буду, блин. Ну что, погнали. Погнали смотреть. Так, ну что, финны на первом месте имеют 68 ПТС. Дальше идет United Kingdom. Они имеют 63%, 63 ПТС. Бразилия 53. Австралия 49. Вьетнам, Корея, Канада, Индонезия, Китай. USA, Турция, Япония, Аргентина, Таиланд, Германия. И на последнем месте у нас Тайвань. Имеют всего 4 ПТС. Германия имеют 5 ПТС. Очень слабая команда. На мой взгляд, выглядит очень плохо. По крайней мере, вот вчера в файтах смотрелось так себе.
Back yesterday, they had that moment at Primorsk where I think it was actually Finna who got headshot straight away and unfortunately couldn't make it over to Sosnovka Island, so that could have been a similar kind of circumstance, and that's when, you know, your tournament's not quite going the way you would like, when you lose players early.
Так, у нас с вами немцы прямо за ребятами из Тайваня едут. Решили стопнуть, но те ребята просто уехали, да? Здесь у Ойла осталось там буквально 5 хп у него осталось на 1 шот. Даже меньше, наверное, 5 хп. Мне кажется, на YouTube, кстати, на трансляции качество намного интереснее, чем на Твиче. Надо еще найти корейскую трансляцию на ютубчике. Argentina towards the south side, they were a bit of a talking point by the desk, and whether or not they can find some improvements, you know, through the likes of a. Надо было пораньше чуть-чуть трансляцию запустить. Я вообще думал, запускать или не запускать. Сегодня проснулся, блин, и спину щемануло. Как-то так получилось неловко. Обидненько. Push further down, get more info for the team. We're seeing the drive-by here as well, spotting one of the enemy's player on a bike. Nothing you can do to respond. Yeah, and maybe a bit fortunate, almost got his teammate in the head as well, but Ming clean. Ну, типа, не такой уж это и хайлайт, чтобы его показывать. Видимо, совсем нечего показывать. У нас что, из Вьетнама ребята 2 человека, двух потеряли, и один из Японии помер уже. Команда из Японии тоже очень слабо выглядит, прям максимально слабо. Турки вообще что-то ничего не показывают. А американцы тоже. Печально. Надеюсь, сегодня как-то положение вещей в турнире таблицы хоть чуть-чуть поменяется, чтобы не было каких-то явных лидеров. Когда есть явные лидеры, смотреть уже не так интересно, на самом деле. Даже с учетом, ну, тем более с учетом того, что нет команд с СНГ. Все плюс-минус рассосались. Оу. Ребята из Кореи с кайфом, да, там? На перекресточек под гору сейчас сядут. Я думаю, что плюс-минус зона как раз-таки там и будет. Что с китайцами? Ну, выглядит очень слабо, неуверенно как-то. Не по стрельбе, а по ротациям. Ужасно.
Finland on the move, Turkey's on the move. Obviously, Canada is going to have to get moving as well.
Well, they have to stop and heal up. I like the play from Australia. Wrap back north round, no reason to go straight east. You don't have the info. You haven't had anyone set up there to scout forward and kind of give you the lay of the land. Go north around, scout in as you move. They're going to be backfilling America.
Финны очень уверенно выглядели вчера. И ребята из Великобритании выглядели очень уверенно. Больше, в принципе, вот так, чтобы выделить. Корейцы как-то, ну, не знаю. Мувмент какой-то тоже отвратительный был у корейцев вчера. По крайней мере, там в последней игре это вообще ужас. Не знаю, непонятное решение приняли и приехали, просто сдохли. Хай, здорово, здорово, ребят. Ну, корейцы, вот сейчас корейцы с кайфом заняли позиции. Очень часто зона плюс-минус куда-то к этому кемпу идет. С него играть довольно-таки комфортно.
Minute and a half until phase 3. For the time being, though, I mean, I'm looking at the map and I don't really see too many teams that are actually all that close to each other just yet. That will change, though. Maybe Chinese Taipei and Canada out towards the very far west, still on that sort of valley side. Back when we had the phase 1 circle, they are somewhat close. Turkey's got an interesting 2-2 split. I don't even know why at this point, unless they're expecting it to shift
Ну, мне кажется, тут ребята из Вьетнама приехали. А он ехать-то не собирается, да? В итоге достается этот фраг смешу. Я не понял, у него горючка кончилась или что он там катился как этот, как будто на ходулях, блин.
Brazil's been so consistent this tournament. They're one of the teams that have actually done well on both Erangel and
А где Россия? России нету. СНГ не представлено на турнире сейчас.
That you know is going to be able to perform here on Miramar and continue to rack up those points.
Next circle, just 5 seconds away. We'll see where that one's going to be going. Chinese Taipei scouting further forward. They know that Canada is nearby, but let's see. Are they forced to move? Oh, yes, they are.
Oh, yes. Я думаю, что корейцы будут сидеть. У них там нормально все. Япония, вот они в этом кратере, но это отвратительное место. Бразильцы на неплохом кемпе сейчас находятся, но он очень легко пушится. Поэтому тоже такое. Нельзя сказать однозначно, что у кого-то сейчас великое преимущество.
How do you then rotate into that southern shift, right? So they're at that position now. It's like, okay, if we stay here, we kind of need the next few circles.
Турки едут под ребят из Канады и сейчас будут жестко принимать их. Они как алкаши! Просто в опене стоит чел. Ты серьезно? Как будто первый раз в игру зашли, обалдеть. Они что, этого не слышат?
helps out. Knockdown onto Esqui. And a nice way for him to make his debut here at the PUBG Nations Cup. But room with the spray. Ineffective. Keenan stays alive, just peeks over, of course. Only had the 1 HP, the Molotov over the top of Lyron. Now only 2 up for Turkey. And it's been going for the revive.
Turkey very lucky here that
Turkey very lucky.
To rotate rather than continue that third party. Their backs are completely exposed. But because they leave, Turkey now knows they have a little more room to maneuver. Smokes deployed all over the place, and they might just be able to get all 4 back up.
Как турки все разрезались, не понимаю.
Allow them to take these fights, and they will succeed.
Yeah, and really smart here, pushing, of course, onto Finna Quetpa, where they know where he is. This is a position as well, Ladrilio, that you want, and he pushes effectively, gets the kill. Finna goes down. Nice 3 kills for Turkey, of course. Chinese time.
Плохая игра от Канады, они занимали нормальный кемп, но очень плохо разыграли. Очень плохо. Вот, слушайте, вот среди этих гигантов я даже не знаю, кто кого перестреляет. Это просто алкаши. Как можно драйвбаем пушить типов в кемпе? Это что такое вообще? Охренеть просто. Просто приехало 4 поинта. Как можно против нормальных типов так играть? Я, конечно, немножечко погорячился про немцев на этом турнире, по крайней мере, да, с учетом их занимаемой им позиции и количеством поинтов, но все равно. Как бы стрелять-то тут благо все умеют. Ой, немцы, куда поехали? Куда поехали? Ну ладно, свернули, там, видимо, рельеф был. Там сейчас вард их один убьет.
Once he gets within range, we know how much damage. We saw it yesterday, how incredibly much damage those nades can do. He is isolated, though. He's playing a solo, not flank, but hold position. He should not be peeking on over here. How greedy are you about how much do you want that knock? Because your teammates are not there. We are seeing Michael and Fex, though, quickly grabbing the way in his
Я не понимаю, эти гранаты должны уничтожать просто. Так, хорошо. Ну, я думаю, что тут Германия и ГГ. Должны ребята из UK закрыть их просто без потерь даже. А чё? Они решили, типа, зона пошла, закидаем их флешками, потратим ресурсы и уедем? Индонезия просто заехала к японцам, японцы ничего не сделали, ровным счетом. Да. Нокнули одного РДК. Ну, его доели, да? Максимальные подбухи от немцев вообще. Вообще очень неуверенно выглядят, делают какие-то глупости. Ну, просто ребята из стая, на плюс В поехали китайцев просто душить. И сейчас им ребята из Великобритании на лицо сядут. Так, финны начинают фармить. У финнов там сколько? 2 фрага уже. Довольно-таки уверенно Мэкси выходит. Но турки сейчас в лобби отправятся. Тут еще корейцы подсосались. Там еще Пейдж в спину настреливает. У ребят из Таиланда один на ногах. Корейцы поднимаются. А, стоп, нет, у корейцев доели ног.
Korea shoot towards them as well. Thailand does fall 11th place, but they got kills with them though. They took out multiple teams.
Ребятами скорее надо как-то убивать мужичков из Соединенного Королевства. И тогда они могут хорошо себя чувствовать, играть дальше. Но если не убьют, то тут ГГ. Тут, знаете, самое будет неприятное, что они очень широко играют, ребята из UK. Отличный спрей. Так, сегодня взял М-ку, да?
Lash peeks on over, catches T-Bone in the open, and Onyx now needs locked in as well. Got himself a little bit of a high ground position, but don't want to overcommit to it. Vart now falls as well. Slash continues to be.
Ой, корейцы, как хорошо сыграли тут, а? Текс должен был умирать, но не умер. Отличная игра от корейцев сегодня. Вообще просто без шансов. Спокойно. Уработали, ребята. Сейчас они неплохой рельеф имеют, неплохое место будут разыгрывать. Финны потеряли Мэкси. Ну, Тайвань им не соперники, конечно. Слишком слабенько. Ой, какая хорошая хае. Люк еще загорится сейчас.
From USA. Sharp shot, more like sharp nade. Luke 12 trying to get the first aid kit.
Люк, дай.
Does not matter. The US of A.
Без шансов.
Australia, great position, great team kills, but they've got Korea pushing in behind them.
Финны будут сейчас пытаться пушить бразильцев, но бразильцы вышли, нормально принимают. То есть не дают к себе подсасываться, потому что у них такой кемп, к которому довольно-таки несложно подсосаться. Там как бы любой ног будет чреват. Но финны отходят и, ну, поплатиться могут, кстати. Корейцы, я думаю, сейчас закроют американцев. Надеюсь, без шансов. Could be a very deciding fact that who's going to come out on top in this game. Korea, here's noise, instantly swaps over to the nades, drops them forward. Let's see if they can find anything. Well, a bit of damage onto the United States will just force them back a little bit. Good start there for Korea at the moment, though. Чё, ваши ставки? Но если бразильцы сейчас закроют финнов, то у бразильцев в целом все хорошо. Вопрос в том, кто сейчас выйдет победителем из этих противостояний. Корейцы, если закрывают американцев, у них немножечко похуже дела, но в целом тоже неплохо. Кюрекси ловит ног, его подымут. А, ну все, финны проиграли этот файт. Бразилия выиграет, я думаю. Слишком ультимативная позиция. Они еще сейчас освободились, сейчас начнут фармить вот этих вот дерущихся типов. Корейцы посыпались. Не дали, к сожалению, ноков.
Yeah, and really good position right now for the United States. Even if Sol gets a knock, I don't think he gets the flush because of the terrain. He's just in a really tricky spot. USA do need to be careful that maybe they don't overextend.
Его даже душить не пойдут, он сам к ним придет или умрет от зоны. Что? Да, он от зоны умрет. Ну чё, это фарм для Бразилии. Там лежит вьетнамец, и он может занозить кому-то. Но скорее пока американцам, нежели Бразилии, потому что там кайфово, они никуда не будут.
USA, they had 16 points, they were in 10th place, now up to 25 points and into the top 8. This is a big game for them to sort of
Так, ребят, давайте накинем лайков, потому что, я так понимаю, уведомления о начале трансляции люди не получили. Нам срочно надо поставить лайки, чтобы начали приходить уведомления. Там рекомендации появляться начали. По-братски. Japan даже не выйдет из этого кемпа. Хотя у них даже целая тачка есть. В теории могут подъехать в ЛГ между Бразилией и Америкой, да? И Бразилия с Америкой будут друг другу мешать, а вы там будете спокойно находиться пока внизу. Ну тут, блин, тут должна Бразилия забирать игру. Вообще без шансов. Japan, куда поехали-то? Ой, какие алкаши.
Back-to-back stolen by LFP1, and now they change their focus over to USA.
They get the knockdown onto VHZ, but he's still on top of that build of the.
Как можно так играть? Куда они приехали? Они что, рельеф на карте не знают? Охренеть!
And don't forget about Clories. At some point, if the USA push past him, if they push past him, Toby, he could actually find a couple of kills and play spoil.
Very dangerous player. 0 kills might not look like it, but he is one to hit shots when need be. And believe me, if there's a time to hit your shots, that's if 4 US players make their way right past you, which, as you said, Xenox, could very, very well happen. Shrimsy, sitting tight. They are inside the next circle, so no reason to overextend before you're forced to.
So Haven's pushed early. He's the star player right now for.
Ну вообще, я не готовлю.
Haven has been fragging out, arguably averaging almost up there some of the best numbers at this tournament.
What?
As well. Further pain.
Они, я смотрю, не отстают от корейцев, да? Блин, надо точно найти корейскую трансляцию на YouTube. Сейчас посмотрим ее. Они слишком хороши. Ну чё, чат, ваши ставочки? Бразилия или Америка? Кто выиграет?
Maybe they were sort of hoping that that next circle for Phase 8 goes really far north, even onto Luna there of Japan, forcing Brazil down, but it just doesn't go that way. Sparking, VHC, LFP1, they still don't really have to move. They're still going to have that high
USA победа? Вьетнам выиграет? Вьетнам? Я думаю, что 89%, что побеждает Бразилия в этой игре. Слишком ультимативная позиция до сих пор.
Chance? I disagree. I think Brazil's got like an 80% chance to win this game right now.
This has Brazil written all over. Then again, we have seen wins in situations that didn't look like they were going to be. These peak battles are still going on, but again, they need the knock, and they need it now.
And yeah, look, they getting damage, that's great, but obviously for the USA, they need that knock. Like you said, if they don't get it,
Нельзя ноки получать сейчас. Слушайте, вот если сейчас американцы где-то найдут позицию, ребятам из Бразилии потом будет не так просто.
Having two up on the top. The smoke's being thrown is alerting everyone. Wait, there's still a Japanese player down there somewhere. Might want to focus him too.
Америка по-любому, только непонятно северная или южная. Согласен. Настаиваешь на том, чтобы мы их называли Соединенные Штаты Америки? Мужчина из Вьетнама там просто чилит. Я в шоке. Но они же прекрасно понимают, что где-то сольник еще есть. Они же это прекрасно понимают. Ну теперь шансы плюс-минус равные, на мой взгляд. Этот сейчас еще и выпасти может. Сейчас посмотрим, что будет делать вьетнамец для бразильцев. Сейчас он может очень сильно заносить американцам. Вау, почти в соло закрыл!
Found the kills before killing Sharp Shot. They do it smart from Brazil 13. They'll make it 14. Brazil make it 2 wins. And the PUBG Nations Cup.
Просто вьетнамец такой грязи там наделал. Вай. Вот это нормально, вот это нормально, вот это хорошо. Если бы он еще закрыл последнего, и плюс 4 поинта себе забрал, вообще было бы. В итоге он ни одного поинта не забрал, к сожалению. Но если бы он взял плюс 4... Американцы в тильте, они еще и... Нет, не топ-3, топ-2. Brazil.
But it was not clear towards the end.
When I saw Clarice pull out that nade and they were lined up, there was a throwback straight to face it where Captain, he did the same thing, completely annihilated the whole team. But unfortunately, he didn't get the last player, so he didn't get the 4 kills.
So close.
And then he lost the flushes to Brazil as well. So, insane game here for Brazil. I love how they started their early game, though.
Toffees as our American representative here at the desk. Anything?
I mean, Vietnam had less to work with, a thorn in America's side. The U.S. finally, they come into day 2. Things look so good. And honestly, I think Brazil left the door open. Because of that fight, they weren't rotating quickly enough. I think the U.S. could have had that.
Haven getting knocked.
It is what it is. Cleopatra's curse. You gotta kill the snakes before you can make the push, or something bites you and takes you down.
All right, let's take a look at the moments coming in from this game as Brazil once again converting and once again having a good game on Miramar. They're seemingly always in these top moments.
Staying 4 guys alive consecutively here. I love
Чё, Бразилия у нас на первое место? Подожди. Они сколько сделали поинтов-то? Ну ладно, до первого, походу, они не дотянули, на втором они сейчас должны быть. Ну что, ждем следующую игру. Я пошел с больной спиной, полежу, ребят. Приду на игру, ладно? Дам отдохнуть спине.
That is extremely rough. Brazil, a little bit of a lifeline, even though they had full control of that game. But regardless, they get themselves the victory. Game number 1 for day 2 goes to Brazil. And I will say here, we've got to repeat this. Even just at the start of the second day out of 4 days, I already feel, Toffees, like Haven is having a career-defining performance.
I mean, yes, there is zero argument here. People, when we got here, so what do you think about Haven? Where's he going? Is this the next big thing to come out of Brazil? I don't have a question anymore. Literally watching that game, the U.S. got a knock on Haven, and I went, oh, they might win now. Because you can't beat them unless you drop Haven first.
Look at the utility here, though. 26 smokes enabled USA to get into the circle. Actually have a chance fighting. We were talking about it. If they don't, and the guys casting were talking about it, if they don't make a move here. But they were like, okay, I actually see we have some smokes. There's some opportunity. And they did it. They played the utility game to perfection. But unfortunately, Clarice was there to destroy the party. And I actually feel super bad for Clarice. Because that was 4 potential points from kills alone. Plus the one that we got from placement. And it would have been a star-studded performance from him, but unfortunately he lost all the points there.
I mean, the thing to take away from this, whilst we obviously have Brazil, USA, Finland, Korea here as the top 4, the fact that Vietnam is not only continuously being annoying to America in quite a few of these games, but also they know how to survive. They are constantly finding themselves spots.
Yeah, honestly, this performance, both in getting the kills, getting the placements, and consistently being there, that's gonna really show throughout the tournament. I think they could stick into and stay in the top 5 if they continue the strategy. They don't necessarily need to get, because if you can get one player that can squeeze this many points out, let's see what they can do once they're
conversion.
Once they're full 4 alive, once some of these late game here, because they have the fragging capability for sure. Sapao, absolute amazing player. I'm really excited to see once they're full 4-man alive, potentially versus some of the other rosters as well.
I mean, love it or hate it, the ability to stay that long, the ability to stay hidden, smartly get behind another team, that's part of PUBG. That's why we love it. So I have to give him props. As much as it hurts me as someone from the U.S., it was a brilliant play, and I cannot take that away from him.
No, I was sitting next to you when it happened, standing next to it when it happened. I was like, I haven't seen a man in pain for that long without being in direct physical pain.
If my hair wasn't rock solid from the spray, it would be everywhere for me, just like running my hands through it in frustration.
And here are the final moments coming in from this game. Again, as you say, when we're sat down there's a moment where I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to craft that intro. I'm just going to let Toffees have it, because I feel like USA is going to win this game. Not to be the snake in the grass comes out of nowhere. But aside from that, Martin, when you look at how kind of Brazil are playing these final moments, anything to take away from this?
Yeah, so they were playing with an anchor player on the high ground compound to make sure that in case somebody tried to get into it, they still had information. So they could push 3 guys out, make sure that Finland got taken out. Absolute correct play here. Also, the way that they engaged the late game, you saw with the 2-2 split, you could see Sparking joining Having, make sure that they had the sweep in case USA pushed in that direction, and then the 2 other guys taking the other side, because they're fully aware where Clarice was. They wanted to make sure that he was third-bodying them. So they were setting that up.
And to be clear, they were very aware. They also knew where Japan was. In fact, there was one point where I saw Haven get sight of Japan and choose not to take the shot.
Points coming in, 24 points for Brazil. They're going to be challenging for number 1 at this point. The USA getting themselves double digits. Likewise, so did Finland. And I think overall, Martin, for Brazil to clear out the backside of the position that they had was very important, and that was against Finland.
100%, yeah. Finland got absolutely demolished by Brazil's decision-making throughout the mid-game there. They maintained them, they contained them on the edge, and they forced Finland to sweep away from the circle, which then set them up for late game where they could just completely destroy them.
And a bit of vengeance from yesterday. It was actually the exact opposite situation. Brazil played this very well. They used smokes effectively. They locked Finland out, and they executed. Sparking, making some really smart plays, and to be completely honest, with him shot calling and playing that defensive game, and then it seems like he's just releasing Haven to do what Haven does best, they look good.
I'm happy I bought 3 Brazilian shirts, national shirts out in the shop, because I'm going to make sure I'm getting them signed so I can wear that once they win the whole thing, because that is surely looking how it could be ending up.
There's some of the prettiest shirts. That is
I love the color.
It's a great color
I'm
combination.
I'm a green and blue kind of guy, you
right?
know?
Yeah, it's very, very nice. And Sparking, of course, making it look good as
Oh!
well. They move up into second place with this. Just now 1 point behind Finland after the double chicken dinners coming in from Finland yesterday. That's big for Brazil.
It's big. They've got 2 more Miramar matches. Both of these teams in the top 2 seem to be playing very well when it comes to the desert. So I think they're both very excited to see where this goes. UK, again, it wasn't bad, but it was only a 5-point game for them.
They had a rough situation with Korea as well. They got pushed a little bit. But I'll say this, though, guys. The top 3 is establishing a scary lead after just 6 games.
Which I think opens an interesting door. A lot of teams out here, I think, are playing a points per game system. Sort of, I want to average anywhere from 4 to 7 points per game. If we maintain that, we're going to go into the top 5. But the lead being established by those 3 is going to start making people question that system because you can't just get 5 every time.
Here is Finland at the moment, and as much as this wasn't the most amazing game, they still had 8 kills whilst this was happening.
Diggory has 47% of all of Finland's kills. 22 kills. And my fantasy pick, Mexi, has 3.
You know, he's there.
I can't believe it.
He's there for moral support, all right? He's no. I take that back because I almost always in fantasy league pick Mexi. Not this time. It's not gone too badly.
Here's what I love about it. He is consistent. He's a good fantasy pick because he always goes deep. He doesn't lose you points, and he gets consistent scores at a value cost. So he is a team player, and I think you see that with how he's playing with this team right now.
I just know that. No, I've known, like, so when I was playing, I was still playing against Mexi back in the day. I have been dominated in tournaments by Mexi. So I know that this guy will do anything to get on my nerves, and that is definitely happening right now.
I'm so happy that he is. I will say it that way. I'm so happy.
I can tell, especially because the rest of Finland doing well. And your pick has the second most frags in the team.
Frags is pretty good. Here's Indonesia.
Indonesia, I love these guys. They said they're happy to be here together. These 4 play together all the time. They're trying to get this roster together because they believe they could be PGC contenders if they can sign as a group. And they are showing consistent, not only great play, but maybe even evolving the game a little. Teddy's out there with a sawed-off.
Oh my God.
That was ridiculous. I think, was that against
the 3
Germany?
knocks, I can't believe how he was. So, of course, we want to see it happen, but we have a potential smoke grenade launcher that could be changing.
Whoa. Steady on. This, I mean, it's
for the weapon slot, you know. Sawed off, of course, can work, but I really want to see the smoke grenade launcher.
I mean, when was the last time we saw 3 sawn off knocks in a game? In a professional game?
Never.
It's never happened.
No, I mean, maybe in some of the lower competitions.
Sure.
So
international stage.
We're talking international tournament? Never. No.
Well, the best part of those knocks was that he had an extended mag M4 ready to go. So he gets the 2 knocks, and everyone pushes like, this guy's got a sawed off, and he's able to defend it because he's got the full load ready to fight back with.
I love how, especially in the bottom play there in the 5-stack star, I believe it was inside, the way that he was also taking out an 8 to try to secure the kills immediately. He was just aware that he was getting pushed.
All right, game 2, Miramar, back to the desert we go. Can Brazil continue on? Over to the commentators.
Only 1 point currently separating the top 2 teams. Of course, Finland and Brazil, 78, 77 respectively. Toby, as we head into our second match of the day. And the Dads did bring up a very good point. That top 3, they're starting to really form a gap.
Looking scary, that is definitely true. First playing a tricky southern one, this time around a lot more fair. Everyone should be able to go exactly where they want. You shouldn't see a whole lot of commotion early on here. But we gotta go back to glories. We gotta go back to glories. Not only, I mean, yes, he didn't get the kills. He does get a good placement, doesn't get the kills, but the beginning of the game, they were done for. Vietnam were done for, and they still make that much of an impact late game.
You know what he gets, though? He doesn't get the kills, you're right, but he gets a moment in PUBG history that many will remember forever. It goes into the history books.
Also, keep in mind, I mean, we were talking about the
Так, ну что, вторая игра, второй Мирамар. Владимир, когда это там корейцы-то вели, кстати?
You know what, boys? Maybe we'll just take you with us.
Yeah, I tweeted that out just before. I was just like, I cannot believe the rivalry between the United States and Vietnam.
Великобритания вела.
now even here into PNC 2022. And
Корейцы были в пятерке.
what you love to see.
Vietnam sitting up in 4th now as well. Very, very solid performance. Again, as you said here in the start, and then this set as well, there is still quite the jump up to the top 3.
Блин, было бы прикольно, если бы он кого-то выбил.
That would be glorious, bringing that momentum into this game for his Vietnamese teammates.
We did get our phase 1 circle up in detail. That'll be good for the Australian fans out there. Glorious as well, smack bang in the middle of it. Of course, the spotlight on him.
Ты посмотри-ка, Диггери и по дэмэджу, и по киллам на первом месте. Потом Тибон, Heaven, LFP, Q-Rexи, Диггер, Диггери, ЛФП по дэмэджу, Тедди, сколько он, 3000, 2,5. Ну, это что у нас, за 6 игр получается или за 5? Результаты показали. За 6 игр?
Phase 1 circle, rare for obviously the fact that we've got the majority of the teams in there. Alpozo, Montenuevo, where they're looting out.
500 АДР.
The last match, of course, no surprise to be seeing a lot of the Brazilian lads in there. I think it was about like 8 stolen kills, and we of course can account many of those to Clory's wiping out the United States. But a massive game from Diggory as well.
Не, эти усики, я просто не могу от них оторваться. У чувака, у ЛФП нос как у меня, не? Такой же здоровый.
Finding like stealing knocks from the first second of the game. He was all over the place, finding people from his high ground position. And in the end, I mean, just solid performance from Brazil. Because even though, yes, they have the high ground, everyone goes, oh, but they just had the compounds good. They were the ones, they had to go down and fend off Finland. They had to make so many wise plays. Yes, they're inside the circle, but everyone wanted that compound and they fended off all of them.
And the most interesting thing about Brazil
Слушайте, китайцы уже выехали, обалдеть.
He's the star man, he's the IGL, and so far, through the first couple of games, has probably been, if not has been, the least...
2 минуты потратили на то, чтобы лутаться. Ну, 3 минуты прошло с вылета самолета, по-моему. А, нет, это с появления зоны же. Ну, короче, плюс-минус 3 минуты потратили на лут. Хотя я самолет не помню, какой был, в какую сторону летел, да? Неудачная первая игра была для United Kingdom. Главное, чтобы они уверенность в себе не потеряли. Looking like a really, really good match one. Then the Clory's moment. Now Turkey, but Espy flashed himself. Nice flash. Only has the flush. Sharp shot, who was already down. Kickstart. Nice little shot there. Can he get a second one? Not initially, but they got the knock at least onto Espy. Now makes it a 3 versus 3. Kickstart, trying to wrap around. They know they have the flash. They know they're blind, at least for a little while longer. А я нету.
Inside the building. We've got Vietnam. They hear this. China hears this as well. So how are they going to impact things? I like the overhead position from H1. Does find Lyron. Let's see if we can find more with it.
Ой, все, турки сдохли.
Down 2. But does find damage in return, but he's a solo player left alive. And somehow not being eaten up by that Molotov. Kickstart goes for the flush, but now loses a little bit of damage himself. H1 and Kickstart, last 2 up for USA. Should be able to beat Quetbar here. And somehow gets away into the smoke and away from Kickstart. And trying to rock up. This is awful for the USA. Now Turkey's gone, but the duo for the USA.
Ну китайцы это поздно так подъезжать.
Just H-Win and Kickstarter. Bike slipped instantly there. Takes down the first. Falls back, gets healed on up. This is not what they wanted to have happen.
А там еще Вьетнам.
Going from third party, we might see a fourth party in a second because Vietnam, as you can see on your minimap, are sneaking on in. They want a piece of this pie as well.
Yeah, Duck My Clory's both very close. You can see in the minimap, like you said, Shrimsy just holding on inside of the smoke in this building. So low on health. Xiaolu, Spotches out. H-Win, he's gone. Now it's just Shrimsy left for the USA. Throws out more smokes. He's got 5 more still in the inventory. Bit of a random spray, and it gives away his position out of Aislip, and they are slowly clearing out his position.
Can't see anything. Trying to see if they can shoot him through the smoke. Shrimzy, flame dodge and weave here, not gonna matter though. Ming Ming with high ground position. USA folds all of this.
Подстава такая, капец. Доставка поинтов. Да тут столько лута сейчас вообще. Просто до конца игры можно жить.
I think had we seen more knocks go in the favor of USA there, they would have aggressed harder. But we gotta keep in mind as well, Vietnam is sitting in a wide 2-1-1 split right now, so committing with just.
Представляете, если бы еще вьетнамцы туда забурились? Вот это было бы нормально вообще.
China is obviously just going to turn their attention around to Vietnam, and at that point, it's just a 4 versus 4, or even a 4 versus 2 if they go in without Sapao, Haisaki, who weren't even really that close for Vietnam. So it was only Duck Mai, and it was only Chloe that was watching. Now this is where it all sort of started, and he gets the headshot, which then Sharp Shot falls down. Off of that, injured, Turkey smell blood in the water, and well, the rest is history.
Но турки беспонтово запушили, конечно.
I got tagged once. Oh wait, let me get off. Right as he steps foot over the ledge, headshot can't go back, instantly down. And it's kind of, I mean, I guess it's karma because it was actually the Turkish players he was shooting on their rotation, but goes to show the strength of drive-bys, and unfortunately for USA.
And from a moment, at a glance, where it looked like they were winning the last game, they were going to have a whole heap of kills, to that being evaporated before their eyes, and then going out this early on here for match 2. What a horror start for USA today.
A momentum breaker is when you die twice within 11 minutes. That's going to be a blow. A blow right in the face. Hopefully, I mean, we know the US players, they want to
Блин, лица у ребята жесткие, конечно, вообще.
I want to see them do that with this. Thailand. Favorites of the crowd here, obviously every single time we see them in the kill feed, the crowd goes wild, and I want to see them get something going here as well. It's not been the best of performances so far, but there has been moments. It's similar to what I talked with X-Rays about in the favor of Germany. They know how to do those early rotations, they know how to wrap around, but they need that first fight to go their way. And so far, Thailand has taken casualty after casualty in the first engagements. And when you then come mid to late game with only 2 alive, potentially 3 but bruised, you're not going to win against this caliber opponent.
Yeah, and Thailand is capable of more. When I look at that sort of bottom 5, bottom 6 teams, I wonder how many of
Мне интересно, почему нет ни одной девушки? Вообще же ни одной девушки киберспортсмена в PUBG. Вот, например, нет же каких-то правил, которые запрещают девушкам участвовать в мужских командах. Там. Вообще нет же какого-то деления. Типа, получается, девушки реально не тащат?
There are teams that thrive playing in the unknown. We always, like when we see these tournaments, especially now, where
в запасе у какой-то команды были на предыдущем турнире.
Against a lobby where everyone's still kind of feeling out what to do. And then on the other hand, you have teams that give them 1 day's worth of games to go back and prep for, and they will come in slaughtering. Believe me, I mean, the way that we're sitting the leaderboard right now, while some teams might get to stay, there's going to be a lot of switching around that leaderboard come the end of this tournament, because some teams will bounce back.
Женский PUBG отдельно не устроит, не настолько популярная игра, мне кажется. Ну, в Таиланде вроде наоборот, мальчики в девочек, а не девочки в мальчиков, нет? Девочки в мальчиков тоже себя переделывают или что? А я не вижу, где Корея? А, вижу.
Backing off again, as I said before, regroup early, do it fast, don't let teams punish you, and they beat China just like that.
So La Bendita, obviously the pretty clear focal point, Australia around that, and on the other side out towards the east you've got the United Kingdom, who they themselves, despite being in third, haven't really had a whole lot of circle luck. Maybe the military game where they were towards planes, didn't have to do a whole lot of moving and shaking, but everywhere else, they've had to be pushing in, finding kills. This might be the opposite for them in this particular game, as Thailand have actually got on the move now. As we're watching Balmont, they get away from Minas Generales, and I like this play because up north, I don't sense it's going to be where their circle plays, and they actually take the spot where.
Так, 2 яблока в топку закинул. Живем, пацаны.
They saw those two cards, and most likely, if they have anything that even remotely looks like scopes, they saw only one person in each car.
Там не забывайте лайк поставить. Так, ну чё, финны могут с японцами в теории закуситься сейчас, и я думаю, что у финнов там шансов почти нету. По крайней мере, потому что японцы до этого показывали. Финны в десятки раз увереннее.
Get towards that middle of the pack. They have not got a single placement point, Toby. Not once have they made it to the top 8. It's been around those sort of 10th, 11th place finishes. They're getting kills, and that's been what's working for them. And speaking of kills, Mexi wants to maybe find one here onto Poly. I mean, he just got called out.
Ну что, ваши ставки? Оп-оп-оп-оп-оп. Да почему так плохо?
Trying to sit tight. The good thing for them is in this position, very hard to push, and especially when you have other teams shooting from the side. Noren's double headshot, Page falls down. That is going to put a stop to that push. So for now, Poly is going to be able to sit tight. Mexi, a little bit of damage in return.
Вообще ни к силу, ни к городу, там ребята из стая. А японцы-то подъезжают. Но я считаю, что тут Диггери зафейлил очень сильно.
But if it goes back the other way, then suddenly the pressure is really on Thailand there in Minas Generales. So, look, I'm probably expecting phase 3. If it goes somewhat south or even center, you'll see Janku, you'll see Norrens, and they'll make their way over to Escallusia.
Им надо быстрее внутрь забуриваться. Они просто решили уехать, да? Ну, что я могу сказать? Ребята из стая засейвили тиммейта японской команды.
And has, I mean, this circle, because it's as open as it is, has allowed for everyone to get on in. But believe me, next shift we're seeing here, pretty much no matter where it's going to go, it's going to become incredibly difficult for a lot of teams to rotate on through, because it's spread, if you look at the map, as evenly as it is right now. So wherever we go, especially if we do get a hard shift in, which we will see in just a couple of seconds, some teams will have a very, very hard time rotating on through to the next one. But a lot of splits as we see it here. Yeah, definitely.
Сейчас зона будет вот такая вот.
Game, who does it favor? It looks like maybe the United Kingdom are having a bit of circle fortune for once here at the PUBG Nations Cup. Australia obviously not too displeased either, still inside of it with La Bendita.
Чё, ваши ставки, где закончится зона?
The same western split we saw from Germany before is now happening out towards the east. Argentina, wide 2-2 split, they're going to want to regroup. Will they get beat to it by Korea, though I'm not quite sure.
Ой, Диггери, ну! Блин, Кейн очень плохо поставил. Ну вот почему ребята из Японии плохо выглядят. Он должен был его выбивать.
Balmont, Escallusia, they make their way back to Minas Generales with Janku and Noren, so that split does kind of favor Thailand a little bit with that circle coming out towards the east. They can just go back to where they sort of came from. Australia not really on the move just yet either, as Korea now starting to encroach upon Argentina, and this might be our first fight really since the first 3 minutes of the game. Not sure if we're going to see them make the aggressive play in on it, but to go back to it real quickly, I love Finland's rotation in.
Так, вьетнамцы отсюда уехали, ребята из Индонезии. Ладно, мы не брезгливые. А я немного не понял, а как? А как нокнулся чувак, который нес другого чувака? Должен же выпадать тот, которого он несет. Ничего не понял. Ай, финны въезжают очень опасно. Пейдж сейчас умрет. Ну все, у них был сплит. Финны выиграли. Финны вин. Вот чем чреваты сплиты. 4 в 2 не справились с управлением, получается. Ну, тяжело, конечно. Тяжело против нормальной, уверенной, сильной команды, конечно. Корейцы тоже себя в порядке чувствуют хорошо. Корейцы прям вообще с кайфом. Вот это, вот что за сплит у немцев? Что это? Типа, что это? Алкаши. Блин. Сейчас Бразилия приедет вот сюда. Или китайцы сейчас туда рванут. Китайцы вот приедут вот сюда, наверное. Индонезия приедет сюда. А, там у нас Австралия. Ну тут надо драться будет. Ой, как же у меня болит спина. Ага. Ребята из Канады решили поехать туда, куда я предвещал... А, нет, они просто в будку? ГГ. GG. Пейдж еще и Фекса нокает. А китайцы никуда не торопятся. В итоге сюда приехали ребята из Индонезии. У Бразилии нок. Китайцы будут над ними играть или что? Ну эти в ЛГ должны ехать так или иначе. Ну да. Только едут уже вдвоем, а не вчетвером почему-то. It's going to be interesting. Silson's going to peek on over, find 2 Brazilian players. If they take casualties, if somehow Brazil comes out victorious, just finds 1 or 2 here, Korea is sitting right on the other side. And I would highly assume that Korea is aware that it's Argentina playing this position. So if they see Argentina knocks in the kill feed, they will push on in, and that could be Korea's compound for the taking. Куда поедут господа из Германии? А, едут в Бразилию душить. Ну, хороший вариант. They got the strength in numbers. Do they have the information? Maybe not. PHC with the nade right into the node. Oh, we got the pre-nade to land as well. Micah gets one back. Remember, it's now only PHC left standing. Sparking corner. Kinex gets the steal. PHC spots the last member. Micah stuck inside of it. He's got a bit of help behind him. What a nade though by PHC. He's done a tremendous job. Germany meet their demise, and Argentina want to clean it up. Я уже говорил, что немцы бездари, да? А, ребята из Индонезии решили на корейцев заезжать. Ребята из Аргентины тут как тут сейчас. Find points, feel confident. Okay, you've just helped get rid of Germany and Brazil. Push on this. You know it's Korea. You know they're close. Indonesia's only got 9 left standing. He tries to do what he can do. Забурился. Throw out some flashes. Fisher's got the high ground as well on the roof. Make something happen, Argentina, before it's too late. China coming in full speed forward. Я не понимаю. If there's a spot you want to play this circle right now, this is one of the very only compounds left. Так, китайцы сюда же. China number one! Орут. 100%. Fortunately for Argentina, they've got the cover. Things do come to a bit of a standstill at the moment. China, of course, not want to get over-aggressive and just rush into this compound. Korea, they're on the back foot. Чуваки, я же не просил, Дмитрий, я же не просил заключения твоего. Я прекрасно знаю, что у меня за спиной. Все-таки 31 год уже дожил.
at all. China got able to sit tight. They have what, 7, 8 loot boxes down there at this point to loot up. So even if they didn't have nades, even if they didn't have heals early, now they will have plenty because you have an entire
Ну чё,
Germany and
этот мужчина сейчас сдохнет. Слишком поздно флешку дал. Снеки снег. Да, китайцы еще живые, у китайцев все нормально.
21 minutes gone now.
Вард еще живет нафиг. Ну вот смотрите, как беспонтово сегодня играют ребята из Британии. Куда ты нахер вышел? Блин, ну из Японии ребята слабо стреляют. В полете об гранату ударился молик, что ли? Или что, я не понял. Финны пришли Канаду уничтожать. И ребята из Канады сейчас отъедут. Beautiful nade, beautiful Molly. Финны просто кушают сегодня финны. Просто пришли похавать. Посмотрите, куда китайцы пошли. В спину финнам пошли китайцы. С плитом. Но финны их заспотали, походу. Там сейчас Тайвань, цари и боги нафиг. Не выпустит ни Аргентину, ой, ни Австралию, ни Японию.
Dominate this game, Ming Ming. Oh, he's going for it. To see you hit it. Not gonna happen. Does hit this second. Look at that chest shot. So much damage coming through with the boom here. Oh, no. China instantly fortifying the position. They don't want any part of the compound. Now the circle when North Page does get taken out. Correxy tries to make his way out of there. Nades are coming through. 21 damage as Diggory tries to stay alive.
He needed to just start running straight away because those smokes are dissipating. Had he just gone straight
Просто на соплях живет.
Back to Corexy. Now he's stuck. Fortunately, at least inside of the circle here for phase 6. So Diggory does have some time.
Как думаете, китайцы соберутся наконец-то или нет? Бедолагу закидывают и закидывают.
You've got Japan that can push over onto Corexy, but if that happens, do they look at China instead?
That's not gonna happen.
Все, Diggory минус.
Australia sits there ready and waiting. Diggory does go down. Corexy now solo play left alive. They shut it in the middle.
Тут слишком сложно.
Not too fast with the China back in this one. Tough day for them yesterday, but here in game 2 of day 2, they are looking as strong as ever. 10 kills. Make that 11. There you go, Ming.
11 киллов китайцы дали уже. Они еще сейчас будут фармить. Они сейчас японцев зафармят. Хорошо. Тайвань столько ноков получили. Обалдеть. Китайцы тоже хапнули ног. Да.
Not gonna happen, at least that first time round. Xiaolu and Sobian still alive on the north side ridge here, but Japan fending off and doing so with style.
Xiaobian up close and Xiaolu just a little bit further back. Of course, Japan don't.
Надеюсь, корейцы выиграют игру.
Quickly look at that circle shift though down to the south. Perfect for Korea, perfect for Argentina. Of course, they can wrap up as well out and maybe try and get in front of Korea. You've got Chinese Taipei as well, still with this kind of circle favoring them. 12 kills for China, been a great game, but can they get anything more? The flash, I think it did land. Push out here. Luna now gets 2 members of Chinese Taipei, but they've still got China to deal with. Holy on the other side did get that knock onto the pushing Xiaopian, so they're holding
Ой, хорошо.
Luna doing all
Ой,
himself.
хорошо,
He does get
почти,
knocked.
почти.
Argentina with a random knock as well. onto
Просто 3
Poly.
нока.
China's gone, but Japan have been the beneficiaries.
How do they stay alive through all of that fighting? 2 teams at the same time, still managing to prevail, full on taking out China, almost Runa 1v4 in all of Taipei. What a performance. People underestimate Japan. When they're thriving, when they're playing comfortable, they are terrifying to go up against.
And a really good game here for day 2 of the PUBG Nations Cup, where you've got some of the teams that were a little bit slow to get going on day 1. Japan, Argentina, Chinese Taipei. What have they got? 7 kills, 6 kills, 8 kills, and all into the top 4.
Really, as things cool down here,
Ну, Тайвань очень везет, конечно.
Argentina is setting up. Keep 2 inside the compound. You don't want to get pushed in by Korea. But as you saw earlier, there was a chance they might want to wrap up, and that's exactly what they've done. Deny Japan a chance to make your way on down. You have the car, you can hear it. Silson's going to wrap back
Опять
on.
ног у Тайваня получили.
Trouble, and here they go into Taipei. But regardless of what happens here, else Japan does fall. What a hell of a performance from Japan to stay alive for as long as they did.
Yeah,
Блин, корейцы между двух огней, это очень плохо. Единственное, если сейчас зону будет выдавливать либо с кемпа, либо с горы, лучше с горы, наверное, для корейцев. Если ребята из Тайваня пойдут вниз, то тогда Аргентина будет их фармить. И они, в принципе, ничего не сделают корейцам. В принципе, если будет обратная картина, то тоже. Так что в целом неплохая позиция, наверное, все-таки. Ребят, не забывайте про лайк. Лайк прожимаем. По-братски. А то что-то уведомления не приходят людям. Ну что, часто Аргентина будет играть на Корею, и это менее успешный вариант для Кореи, нежели предыдущий, но все равно ребята из Тайваня будут как-то назить Аргентине, но сейчас тяжело будет ребятам из Кореи принимать, потому что здесь они заходят, в принципе, неплохо. Флажок ног.
Because if you peek on over, Taipei is on the other side ready and waiting. Argentina know they cannot fully commit to it. They gotta do it with utility issues. They aren't finding the damage, and now they are though.
Тайвань вообще никак не помогает. Просто никак не помогает Тайвань.
Argentina has 2 teams that you said far down the bottom of the leaderboard, and now showing off great performances. 9 kills for Argentina, 10 for Taipei as they go down in a 1v1 here.
Yeah, but Silson's been knocked and he's on the outskirts as well of the compound. So right now, Chinese Taipei, not only have they got position, they've got high ground, they've probably got the better position for the circle. They've got Argentina trapped as well.
Вообще, на мой взгляд, должна быть конечная для ребят с Аргентины. Если только сейчас из Тайваня мужики ноки не будут ловить. Если ноки будут ловить, это будет жопа, потому что у них там 2-й, 3-й, 4-й ноки уже. Им вообще нокаться нельзя.
For Argentina would allow them up the hillside and take that up close fight. We've seen them. We've seen today how scary they've been up close. Not saying Taipei hasn't been, but Argentina seems to me are feeling it right now. 1 knock, full commit push, and the game is theirs.
So this is where those final smokes start to get thrown out. They've got to push forward into this next circle. Of course, Fisher, Martinson, just on the very edge. Now, Silson and Lee, at least they're both a little bit more inward. Of course, they've got a bit more time, but not much really. Phase 9 is here, and it's going to force Argentina right into the arms of Chinese Taipei.
Зачем за спину смоки надавали?
Knock, Toby. Without it, I don't see them winning.
Let's see if the smokes are going to grant them any favor, so if it's just going to make it easier for Taipei to zero down their positioning. No
Походу Тайвань поплыла.
First one to be found, Silson continues forward, no need to go for the flush, now they do, as they find a little bit of breathing room. 10 kills for Argentina here as well.
And Chinese Taipei now on the back foot, they're on the ropes. Argentina have the numbers advantage, and it seems like Chinese
Тайвань вообще
Taipei
без
do not know
ресурсов.
what's just hit them. They've completely
Тайвань
overwhelmed
проиграла.
their left
Всё,
hand
100%.
They've been able to use their numbers, get that knock, and now they split up a little bit. Rush gets the knock onto Elite. That's Xavier now with a high grab, but he gets shut down. Martinson with a big headshot sells it too. The young and old for Argentina, looking to find their first chicken dinner at the PUBG Nations Cup. They spotlight Yeli. They get the win.
What an absolute hell of a performance. Argentina having to fight out of the compound, having to take it.
Это вообще было ужасно со стороны Тайваня сыграно, я так считаю. Они, видимо, настолько сильно боялись ноков, что просто пропустили, ребят. Так, мужички, я опять же со спиной пошел отдыхать.
Such a tremendous job all game from the mid game early, the fight at the compound. They finally feel like they've come out of their shell a little bit. Pushed, got killed, felt confident. What a victory in the end.
Didn't like the passive playstyle from them yesterday. Today they dare. They clear out the last Indonesian player. The compound is ours. They wrap north to backstab Japan. Don't come down our hillside. They are taking chance and it's working for them.
From the bottom three to a chicken dinner. How about that one? From us, back over to the desk.
That's right, thank you very much, gents. Game 2 in the books here for the day. Argentina with the win, following up their South American brethren from Brazil. Brilliant stuff so far. And I feel like overall, guys, this game, the comeback kids are in town. Argentina, big points. Chinese Taipei, big points. China, big points coming into this game.
I mean, the top teams have left the door open in this game. They all went out relatively early. We saw everyone climbing. It's weird for me to say China wasn't a top team coming into this, but they've been on the climb. But really, if you want to say today has been a day about the Americas region in general. Brazil, Argentina, US finally had a good game. Like, it seems like they're getting their rhythm, but to me, Argentina played that so well. Chinese Taipei also a little bit left that door open. They didn't make any peaks. They didn't get involved at all with that Argentina push on Korea, and I think they needed to.
Yeah, and obviously in this situation where I was seeing you in pain in the last game, but still, this is your home turf, boys. This is Argentina. They play in your home region. I'm super happy to see them step up, especially here, Silson, the most decorated player in this tournament. He's the only player that has been at every single international LAN since 2018.
Let's take a look at the highlights here coming on in.
I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal. We're going to see more of them as they did. Make some really good points. They got to a great spot. Here's China, though, as we watch the highlights from them. They turned it on. Whether it was that smash mouth push onto the Turkey-US fight or the end game here, they put 12 kills on the board. It feels like the Giant is waking up. They're looking for fights. They're searching for third parties. I think everyone should get a little worried.
In a situation where they lost 2 players, if they hadn't lost those, they would have swept on to Chinese Taipei's position and actually taken that over. But Japan played quite well there.
Shout out to Japan.
Chinese Taipei, they played quite well there. And in general, a super exciting kind of comeback match here for game number 2.
It's so funny taking a look at this top 4 here as we see Argentina as well as Chinese Taipei leading the charge, because one flag that I don't see there is South Korea, even though they got themselves 3rd place. And that was super important for Argentina to kind of clear out that position, Toffees, just to be able to then crest over that and really hold the ground.
That little dip that they have there, that's try to play late game from there. When you have both a team playing high ground, looking into the dip, and a team pushing, trying to take over the dip, it's impossible. They couldn't do much more. They secured the points that they could. Unfortunately, they didn't have the counter utility or the time to do so.
I think it was, you saw that SLR headshot against Chinese Taipei from the compound by Argentina. That was, Chinese Taipei was interested in being involved. That knock happened, and they did not peak again, and that opened the door for Argentina.
Indeed, very, very impressive stuff by them. As you can see, the final moments coming in from this game. And yeah, unfortunately for Korea, 0 kills. We mentioned it here. We'll take a look at these final moments. For Chinese Taipei, though, up on the high ground, dealing with Japan was crucial.
It was, but I also shout out to Japan for dealing with China. They poly pushed them with no fear whatsoever and made an amazing double to open the door, and then Chinese Taipei did capitalize on it.
Great utility play, great awareness of where to play around on the high ground, because it's extremely hard to play the inside of the crater and get out and survive. They managed to do it, managed to sweep in, managed to get the most points possible out of the circle when it actually went out. Because if had it stayed on the ledge, they would have been able to just defend the high ground, and Argentina had to make the push.
23 points for Argentina will bump them up nicely. Chinese Taipei, China, importantly for them as well. And Japan, double digits coming on in.
Yeah, but let's not forget, I mean, Finland only got 1 placement point, but these guys can get water from rocks. Like, 8 total points. I was like, oh, they left the top teams left the door open, but they did it. Because Finland, even when things go badly on Miramar, find a way to get those points.
They keep your average up, right? That's what's important here. And once you realize, all right, we're not going to be able to win this game from where we are at, let's try to focus on everybody else trying to get into the circle. Take those kills, take those points from that, and that's what we see, what Finland has been extremely good at so far.
I think coming into today, Finland, even though, as you say, not getting the wins, keeps their average up. UK is not, though. It has been 2 rough starts for them, despite being in second.
Miramar's been rough for them in general. It's that is their weak spot right now. Even if they're third right now with 69 points, look at the lead that they have been able to build at the very top for Finland and Brazil.
I think that this is an issue UK is going to have to address after 2 games
100%.
or 4 games on Miramar to say, we're literally surviving on the 3 matches yesterday.
I mean, 2 games on Miramar, okay, yeah, small sample size. 4 games across a tournament like this, the sample size is starting to get a bit bigger and a bit more concerning.
If they don't step it up for this last one, then half of their games from Miramar will be rough. But in general, I talked to Michael. He's like, it's been rough. We had some rough circles. There's some stuff we need to address. And also, once we've been looking throughout these games here, they have had some rough times with the engagement that they had. They have been down to 1 or 2 players very early on.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. So that's 2 games down, 3 more games to go. We're going to a short break here at PNC. When we return, we have more Miramar.
We know that for each second in esports, you are dedicated to winning. Over a decade, XL Series has evolved alongside with gamers. We strive to make every product detail perfect so that you can perform at your best. Elevate your skill and maximize your potential with the ultimate gaming monitor. Zowie. Strive for perfection. Focus on winning.
살려줘. 그거 다 죽었다. 아, 진짜 미치겠다.
fancitos de PUBG. Soy Sichen de la selección de Argentina.
Hola Bangkok, nos vamos a Bangkok, pa.
La PUBG Nations Cup está de vuelta.
Siento que todo el esfuerzo que vengo haciendo hace años al fin dio sus frutos. Y nada, y muchísima felicidad por mí, por mis compañeros, por representar a mi país. No hay nada más lindo que eso. Así que vamos a tratar de dar lo mejor y volver con la copa a casa.
Yo creo que la fortaleza del equipo es que individualmente los jugadores son muy agresivos y muy dedicados en los entrenamientos y tienen mucha hambre de gloria.
Vamos a la selección, papá.
¡Vamos Argentina, carajo!
La Nation Cup está de vuelta.
PUBG Nations Cup Thailand 2022. Argentina. Australia. Brazil. Canada. China. Chinese Taipei. Finland. Germany. Indonesia. Japan. Korea. Thailand. Turkey. United Kingdom. USA. Vietnam.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Nations Cup 2022. I'm Toby, joined by Paperthin and Paper. We have just seen two absolutely insane Miramar games. If you sat up and watched it, those were insane.
I was losing my mind. I was absolutely losing my mind in the back. I mean, particularly watching Japan, like, starting to kind of come into their own, starting to feel themselves, starting to play well. You know, seeing some of these middle-of-the-pack teams or even lower teams start to rise up here and come through. That's what we really want to see.
Especially not just one of those. Oh, they got everything.
Так, что у нас, ребята, экватор с вами? Третья игра. Вы не против, если я погрызу чипсики на этой игре? Что вы скажете по этому поводу? Я на самом деле не думаю, что вы ругаться будете.
I was really happy. One thing I really liked about Argentina was how they got active on the map, right? They weren't just sitting in that compound. You'll see this a lot of times with some teams where they feel like the pressure of the moment. Yeah. We've got this compound. No, they were getting active out on the map. They were going for kills. Whereas I would say the opposite about Korea. I thought they were a little bit too passive.
Exactly. Let's wait no more. Let's hop back into it.
Самый вкусный вкус.
Number 3 of the day, Miramar. Here we go.
Груминг, я не обсуждаю политику на своих стримах. Поэтому не стоит мне такие вопросы задавать.
Alright, let's do it. Planes up. Last Miramar of the day. And a fair plane back.
I like it.
45-degree angle. Yeah, these are the ones that, you know,
Так, ну что, третья игра, третий Мирамар. Блин, капец у меня, конечно. Это ж надо было, чтобы спину щемануло именно вот сегодня.
Terrible circle. So I'm very curious to see where the first one is going to take us.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to consume as much coffee as humanly possible before this match.
Так, я прошу вас, уйдите там от темы политоты. Это ничем, кроме срача, не закончится. Мы же с вами знаем это. Так, с вашего позволения, чуть-чуть погрызу. Так, ну что, первые 10-15 минут опять у нас с вами ничего интересного. О, а вот зона интересная. Да щемануло спину, чё?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's awesome to see them play a good game, same with Chinese Taipei, but now you need to kind of learn from what went well in those last games, which is taking good fights at the right times, you know, covering each other. Argentina being active on the map at the right moments, finding those right moments to do those third parties, just like we saw China in that previous game. You know, China picked up a ton of kills, and a lot of it was on the back of maneuvers like this, where they're getting active on the map. They realize the fight's not happening between Korea and Argentina, so let's go over there, and Ming Ming is a superstar.
A China that feels good.
Вот видите, настолько, блин, не устаю повторять, настолько интересно, что показывают предыдущие.
Of all teams, I mean, Japan was on another level come mid to end game here. We have them fighting Taipei and China at the same time. They beat China, and Runa almost 1v4s Taipei. This happens at the same time. I mean, Japan that game, phenomenal to see. Again, I called them yesterday the more passive region.
Так, это у нас статистика по прошлой игре, я так понимаю.
Yeah, and this is excellent to see for a lot of these regions in different ways. Of course, Argentina, Japan, and Chinese Taipei have been struggling so far. You know, China, an expected, you know, favorite for this event, hasn't really been able to find their form. That last game was everything they're doing is quintessential China. Early on, they take that third-party fight at the perfect moment to strike between Turkey and America, and then they just kind of rotate around. And the way I described it to Matchroom backstage was I was like, China's kind of playing like hawks or eagles. Yep. They're flying around in the air. They're waiting for their moment to dive and strike. That's what makes them so scary.
And that's, I mean, they're so incredibly good at it, too. Again, I mean, on a good day for China, they are, if not, you know what, they are the most terrifying team to go up against, no doubt about it. Team starting to make the rotation, you saw it, we're going far down south. I like this circle for multiple reasons. One being that we're very early forcing teams to play on much less space than what the circle itself actually...
Ох уж эти ротации. Блин, зона интересная. Сейчас будет очень много файтов до первой зоны, я думаю. Я надеюсь, по крайней мере, на это. Так, немцы уже посыпались. Там, кстати, есть шанс, что его подымут.
Silzen able to get away, you know, Germany looking to try to get the recovery, Argentina still seeing if they can find some kind of angle to keep Micah down, and they know where he's at, but it's just enough of that rock in between him and Argentina.
Но это будет первый фраг на карте. Хотя, слушайте, он плюс-минус в сейве, да? Что, с ракетами на дрова закончил? Да я вообще что-то тут как-то... Перестал от Трова говорить, что-то упоминать.
And that is a 3x scope on it as well, so that is a heck of a shot from that range. Now that res very doable since there's a compound right
На
there.
YouTube-то все
But now
грустно.
this opens up the door for Silzen because there's only one gun left.
Ну, можно будет попробовать с ракетами что-нибудь еще. Еще рывок. Ну, в итоге я Муку точно не спасут. Он уже вытек, можно сказать. Он просто там ждет, пока он вытечет, видимо. Вообще, ради этого одного поинта, я не знаю, лучше надо было позицию, наверное.
Early that you did not risk anything to get are the best kills you get.
Please. Oh, we want to see the chair on the back. I think the chair on the back of the buggy might have saved that bullet. But like, I think like when Argentina was angling to maybe make that move, I thought it could be a potential good decision if they can win that fight. But it's also not bad to back off. And USA, I think they saw Brazil. I think they saw Brazil up ahead. I mean, it looks like.
А, американцы вверх поехали.
You know, this might have been something they saw in
Бразильцы там закрытую сидели, да?
They're sitting uphill as well. I mean, Brazil did everything they could.
Заевейдили их.
But they were being very still. So they even parked the cars behind the house to make sure that nothing was given away. And yet, the spider senses tingle enough for USA to be able to dodge that one.
That's one that to me feels like they saw something in VOD review that was going.
Кстати, ребят, YouTube перестал тупить. Заметили? Вроде бы перестал. Так, а вот финнов сейчас...
In a very awkward position because the rest of Brazil is so far and forward.
Mirado's chasing down the pickup truck. I'm seeing the turnaround though instantly. Finland do not know what they're coming into here. Is it just one guy lurking up there? All his teammates right around the corner waiting. Don't risk it. Don't
тормознул.
at least slow down for a bit. Allow for your teammates to rotate with you. And now Corexi can spearhead this one further forward. But him breaking up helps.
Копишь для меня, да? Ну ладно.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting kind of little mini battle. Like it's almost like a horse race, kind of jockeying for position down here between Brazil, USA, and Finland. Everybody wants to get as far into the middle of this, down that bottom road as they can, kind of like the old Na'Vi strat, right? They used to just drive down that bottom road and then just play top or bottom to top the rest of the game.
I mean, full southern control on a map like this is just, it's incredibly OP for multiple factors. One of them being, if you're an edge team already and you in phase one can say, well, there's...
Прошло пока 8 минут. Нам с вами еще где-то 7 минут вот это вот. Ничего интересного, да? Хотя с такой зоной, надеюсь, Икшон появится пораньше. Хотелось бы, по крайней мере, в это верить. Нам давно зону не показывали непосредственно.
You know, speaking of kind of these jockeying for rotations, they've gone around the USA, Indonesia, try to do what you were talking about a little bit earlier, where there's kind of only two ways to get around Los Leones. They're going to go on the western side. There's plenty of space until they get to China, who loves to play. The Chinese teams love to play these central kind of dips in houses that are in the just southern part of Los Leones.
Exactly. We have all the players. I mean, with the exception of Thailand, Japan, UK, who are still making their way down south. All these players, look at that stuff. First time it doesn't hit, it goes for the second time around. Oh, the pre-fire through the narrowest angle in the window. Knows he was gonna peek out, jumps straight into a bullet of his own. And now USA and Finland, they did everything they could unintentionally.
Финны, USA.
But now inside the same
Тут же рядышком турки.
Fighting early game. Well, this is pretty funny because this is like Brazil reaping the rewards of that early.
Юрекси даже без точки.
Now there's a sharp shot way out in the distance. Corexi gets a little bit of damage initially here. Finland sort of a fighting retreat to try to kind of backfill towards the crates and the other things that are on the backside of this warehouse. As you know, Diggory's a bit stuck here though. I'm a bit worried what the escape plan is going to be.
You would think Finland's aware that it's a 4v3 issue being here, that they needed to commit to it early to kind of take advantage of that. You can see in the minimap now, Sharpshot is coming in, and you do have Turkey on the other side, very close, could easily end up playing a factor. We'll see now how things are going to develop. I don't think there's a way out for neither Finland or USA here without a battle being had.
Oh, they have to fight. It has to happen. And I like the USA's initial maneuver to try to go under.
Слишком аккуратно пока позиционку держат, прощупывают, ног ищут. Japan там на краю, что, они кого-то ждут или что? Что там как будто мало команд?
Yes. Yes!
Thought phase 1 had water. Here we have phase 2. This is absolutely
Да,
terrible.
класс, зона класс.
Shinboy now Canada watching UK rotations doing a decent damage to Fex, but Fex there has the hard top Morado, so it's a little bit of extra cover. Got him down to 20. Meanwhile, Flood and Mao Rush gonna trade blows there. Tickleton there to save Flood's life. The rest of Chinese Taipei trying to roll in here, but they're a bit late to this party.
And it's Australia again calling the bluffs.
Да, сейчас должны быть замесы. Может быть, сейчас интересно будет.
They were scouting forward. Australia goes, there's no way there's more than one guy here. Pull up. Yes, they got one knock, but there are two there to take the fight. Issue is, Taipei is now coming back to help. But
Китайцы еще в спину Тайваня начали накидывать. А, это вьетнамцы.
The opportunity to go help their fallen teammate.
Now, this is Taipei, to me, feeling like they got caught in a bad spot initially, and then the play calling was kind of confused about how exactly they wanted to.
Американцы с финнами в итоге разъехались. Ну как это так работает вообще?
I cannot believe this. I thought for sure that these two teams were just gonna, you know, duke it out inside of that warehouse.
You would have thought so, but I think it had to do with the circle going that far south as well. I mean, that compound, we've seen so many games go into that warehouse area, at least initially, and teams sitting in that, being able to backfill late game, get wins off of it. Once they see that circle go,
Они, интересно, Фекса ждут?
They go, you know what, we could just back out west. No reason to take it right now. Nate's coming up here. We saw United
Фекс умер, походу.
Indonesia getting close to one another before. They're still outside the circle here, and Indonesia has a decision to make. Do we go up and help, or do we try and regroup? This thing is now they must make the play. Neil, Teddy making plays. RDK.
Почему его не прикрывают его ребята, я не знаю.
Yeah, had a great timing on that repeat there. You know, Fex have been throwing a couple grenades, so RDK.
Один поинт за 2 игры залутали британцы.
Instantly by Brazil. So Chinese Taipei, you know, early fighting turns into more early fighting, and it turns into an early exit.
The help was there. I mean, you had both VHC and Sparking comes up, then they get the flush, they back off, go away. But now, because Haven went down, VHC has to recommit to try and get the res up here. I want to see Japan aggress on this. They have to make the play, they have to knock. They know there's one down. The smoke's only coming in now, so they know that the res hasn't been committed to just yet. I want to see them aggress.
Тибоны еще выбивают.
They heard the fire, they heard the commotion north of them.
А, нет, просто нокнули, его не добьют.
We could go into trouble of our own.
It would surprise me to see Japan commit to it, not just because it may be dangerous, but just the nature of that team. They typically don't do those kind of things. So, wow, Esqui getting a really good shot on the Page. Oh, Page is just done, so they're just going to drive on by. It's actually Sparking from Brazil, who has
минус Page у финнов.
Towards the road. Corexi going to be driving up there with Diggory in the car with him. Sparking has a pretty good opportunity to get a good spray with the barrel. The initial shots.
Они не понимают, видимо, да, что это сплит. О, занесло машину, забейте, ГГ.
They're done. And Corexi is having problems. Mexi is in the water south of USA, so it's not like the remaining Finnish players.
Ну, чел из Аргентины очень слабый, он не смог в
opening. Ming comes on in right next to RDK. It's Vaught. Did not expect that one, and Vaught gets a freebie.
Oh man, I mean, it's pretty funny here. Indonesia kind of trying to isolate battles here, I think unintentionally against the UK. Now, there are some reinforcements. You can see them at the top part of your map that are trying to get the help.
Пацаны к Варду вроде едут.
Is so good on his own. He's been so good so far for this team, but now he's under pressure from multiple and is going to fall denial.
Yep, the help comes, but the help came too late. They are going to go in, and once again we shift.
Следующая зона будет от воды. Корейцы с кайфом. Заняли кемп. Пошли они там, по-моему, фармить сейчас, да, выходят.
Michael, T-Bone, they want to reinforce this, even though their teammate went down. It's still a good position to kind of enter from issue as China is now coming into this one as well.
Well, this is quintessential.
Сейчас корейцы с китайцами поделят ребят из Индонезии напополам.
From Korea as well, just has an absolute cannon of an arm there, gets it up into range and does a ton of damage. Now the UK has to re-rotate, and there is all 4-3 in their way.
No way they get out of there.
Ой, просто один поинт. А, ну ладно, вот сейчас еще заработали, да? За сегодня 3 поинта заработали UK. Ужас.
You and I know, Toby, that the next circle has to leave as much water as possible, which means Korea's central location is going to be there for probably at least 2 more circles.
За 3 игры. За 3 игры 3 поинта. По поинту в игру, за игру. Еще хуже, чем Германия играют. Германия 8 поинтов за 8 игр. Да.
I love it too. I mean, I think Vietnam is a team that, you know, probably raises eyes to people, and a lot of people are going to think, oh yeah, well they just beat USA, like that's their MO.
Скорее всего, за 8 игр они сделали 8 фрагов на команду.
Unbelievably good players who have been good, not just in their own region, but in the APAC PCSs. So you got to keep your eyes on them. Now, Japan has been under the purview of Australia for a while here.
Да.
Hasn't been opted to engage now.
Финны очень разыгрались хорошо. И корейцы сейчас будут догонять очень жестко.
But no snakes to be found. Shiva prone, ready and waiting, wants to get the first shot in, but it's very, very.
Более-менее стабильно только Корея. Здорово.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say there. I think Luke's been spending a lot of time in NA getting his gun out to shoot snakes. I mean, that's a very American thing to do, but that's gonna be a point confirmed for Escalucia and Thailand here. Is of course, you know.
Все лидеры плюс-минус стабильно отыгрывают.
Australia, if this continues to go the way that it is right now. Thailand, they came south, they now rerouted and are going back up north, but they're going into the same team they were just fighting. This could become incredibly dangerous because if Australia opts to go north now, they're going to find Thailand backs turned all the way. Look at how open this is. Their backs are completely exposed to Australia.
And China's going to third party this fight one way or another if it's bloody at all. If this isn't just a clean sweep of Germany here by Thailand,
вот почему
China
нам...
will 100% get involved in this fight. They might just steal a kill off of Germany for all the hard work that Thailand's about to do here.
Капец, как Тай заходит вообще? Немцы просто их пускают. Сейчас китайцы всех закроют. Там еще ребята из Австралии снизу с японцами должны закуситься.
I mean, I love what China's doing here. They're waiting, and they're going to get a lot of points out of this. As are very weak once again, already knocked once. Pains trying to hold the line, throwing some utility in the... Oh my god, a double grenade.
Так, ребята из Кореи начинают фармить. Это пока только ноки. Охренеть, он хая кинул. Ужас. У тебя молик есть. Что ты молик-то не дал? Кинон сам себя взорвал.
Follow-up grenade bounce off the window. The follow-up from Loki and Lash was good there to do a really nice job of cleaning out Canada. Meanwhile, Thailand not out of it. China had to back off of this.
Ребята из Тая еще и подымутся? Да ладно.
Vietnam's angle from that house or from Australia's push right up on the behind of Thailand.
Exactly. The issue for them is that they cannot go back the way they came. They left their vehicles. They have nothing left to play down there. I hope they either hear or see this, and I'm honestly surprised to see Australia not get backfilled themselves by Japan. But again, Japan very decisive, and when they opt to aggress this time around, not wanting to.
Сейчас австралийцам некуда влетать. Там есть маленькая ЛГ На краю зоны прямо. Но смогут они там жить или нет? Ну, смогут.
In the circle currently, this particular spot, so they're gonna have to work their way through. And Vietnam, I think, should have an angle down there, or at least can reach with grenades. And you know, Australia's trying to find some way in.
Thailand going for the fight 2v4 against China. Not really with odds in their favor. Flashbacks coming in now. Jiangku full to back off Korea. Third party in this one too. Thailand going from one third party into another. Norrens now solo.
Какой там ног у этого мужчины?
Trying to stay put, but fighting against all odds.
Давайте, корейцы, набирайте.
Japan, we didn't know if they were gonna go, but now they have 4 nades for Shiva. Throw some more, you know they're down there.
Да!
Perfect, but unfortunately, bounces up only half damage done, but on 2 players.
Oh, come on.
Почему никого не взорвало из них? Это что-то неадекватное. Хае взрывается прямо перед лицом, и никто не нокается. Чё? Это неадекватная тема.
Australia would have been down and out in the second, but unfortunately for Japan, didn't execute fast enough, and they will end up going down. Wait, what?
Korea, they noticed the knocks that had happened between the battle and China.
Корейцы разыгрались плюс-минус, молодцы.
Finish the job and nail it. Just a perfect execution here. 8 kills already on the board for Korea.
And 2 of those kills coming in for Thailand is why we heard the Thai fans cheer on that one. Nate. It's a long throw if you want to get all the way down there. Chloris doesn't have any more, so no more left to throw. He knows exactly where they are.
Минус Китай, и мы даже этого не заметили, да?
Finnish players being celebrated. A lot of different shirts there for our fans, but well, for Mex's sake right now, he's needing all the support he can get because he is very, very, very much alone against what fortunately now is a Turkey leaving this position.
There's Xenox munching. Okay, they got us some of these butter crackers, by the way. They're really good. You gotta try them. No, they got them in the green room now. They're really good. All right, anyway. Meanwhile, USA been pretty quiet this game since what looked like initial fighting. A good maneuver early to leave that compound. Now they've got Western control of the circle somewhat. Turkey's kind of in their territory. Argentina here getting a little bit active, trying to put some pressure, trying to get some points. I like this.
They have to go out. They have to force them back. They have to essentially force them into Vietnam. Luke, though, does manage to find Martinson first. Good opening for Australia, who needs everything going their way here. Silson peeks on over, finds 1 in return. Australia down to 2, but where is Vietnam in order to finally peeking on over? But Tiggleton instantly there to take down Chloris.
I mean, Australia is
Там еще бразильцы снизу выходят. Представляете? Не, ну тут конкретная порно вообще. Групповушка.
Argentina, all their eyes are looking up towards the north, and Brazil is getting a free entry to the compound. Fisher should be the first one to find out of this, and I don't think he has a clue that there are Brazilian players entering the.
Но ребята из Аргентины оставили чувака, он постоянно низ смотрит, поэтому.
He's going to get into this house for free. Meanwhile, Sapao is going to watch and see if there's any opportunity for him to find a kill. Sparking going to let loose with the grenade. That one's going to bounce outside. Clips Fisher just a little bit for 11 damage. There's Sapao.
Просрали бразильцы возможность без палева кого-то забрать.
And look at how Korea is playing off of this. This is the Korea that we know. Spread out, take control. Don't be the front runners in the fight, but allow for the other teams to make the mistakes. Sit back and.
А Фишера кто нокнул? Не обратил внимания.
They're taking control, and as long as these 3 teams are fighting one another, this has gotten Korea written all over it. But we cannot forget about a 4-man Turkey. Cannot forget about a 4-man USA either, who, as you said, Paper, has been very passive this game, so they will have their utility, have their vests and helmets.
Знаете, ощущение такое, что Вьетнам останется из этих 3 команд. А, ну там еще у Бразилии Хейвен где-то далеко, да?
I'm a little worried here that Brazil is committing too hard to it, because Haven, from his position, you can see how he's looking. He's trying to make sure that Turkey don't backfill. Now they got a knock, but
сейчас корейцы будут фармить всех этих ребят, ну выживших.
Play to your strength. Always know that you need to have an exit plan. You can see now West Circle pops West instantly. They back off. They need to go over to Haven and help to hold from there. Sapao in the meantime does manage to find the Lear. As Mexi, the sneaky snake, tries to stay and put.
Хотелось бы видеть корейцев в топ-1.
And I like the patience here from Brazil. Brazil to kind of maintain this fight because Vietnam is so fully committed to this. You know, Sparking had a good read on this, I think. I think he was just waiting to see if anybody came through. Meanwhile, USA has to start crashing, so it's grenades opening, vehicle up front to kind of try to follow up off of these.
Американцы пришли турков. Так, по кому он стрелял?
Able to back off as well. Lyron now holds up as well. Nice plays from Turkey. They were the ones getting pushed. They were the ones to have to reset. But now they've been able to do so. And in doing so, find 2 HP does find 1.
Ну, лежащих ребят тут переиграть сложно.
They're instantly 12 gets taken down. Eski. Solid play coming through and down. Falls America just like that. Turkey stands strong.
Yeah, phenomenal defense. And now Mexi has a real opportunity. He could finish all of them off if he can get there in time. He doesn't have any frags. He's going to have to get it done with the barrel, but they're going for the reses. They're going to be weak. They're going to be battered. He's got a real opportunity. First one second. Can he get it? No, he doesn't quite find the spray in time. He's going to throw the molly. That's in a really good position. They're all bunched up on top of that, but no, Eski's going to shut him down.
That was a glorious moment waiting to happen. Had he had a nade there, it would have been down in a second. Not gonna happen though.
Бразильцы в итоге отошли и на пару с корейцами закрыли Вьетнам.
Fortunately for Brazil, opting to make the escape early, sit tight, hold the compound. Vietnam, no way they were gonna.
Ну что, ваши ставки, господа?
This is just great play calling by Sparking for Brazil. The patience to go into that compound, wait that out. He knew that that fight had to happen in some fashion, and those teams were going to beat each other up, and they were going to be able to have a good opportunity to rake in some points. Haven doing a good job, just kind of keeping track of their playing. Turkey has to recover, recuperate, but there is a little bit of space here on the western side that they can hang out in. I mean, of course, Korea sitting very pretty in the central compounds.
Exactly. I talked to Sparking coming into this day, and I was talking to him, what worked yesterday, what did you struggle with? And he said, we need to just aggress. There's so many teams that don't just aggress. We need to believe in ourselves, play aggressive, and I think that's part of what we saw with.
Я думаю, корейцы выиграют. Пока только основываясь там на своих пожеланиях. Ну и исходя из позиционки, исходя из того, кто как стреляет. Корейцы в стрельбе очень сильные. А вот теперь у корейцев все не очень хорошо. Как и у турков в целом. Сейчас турки поедут на Бразилию.
You know, little dips and dives, little doodads that they can hide behind.
I feel like as long as Korea has the high ground, has the compound under their control, you can only, I mean, I was going to say, do what Turkey will do here. Play the field, play the cars, play for cover, and wait for Korea.
Это хорошо для корейцев. Куда ты заехал? Ой, балбес, куда заехал?
Got 3 frags in the bag though, and they're going to be driving into range, or at least very, very close here. Soul able to see just enough between the car and the tire that he's able to get a little bit of damage here and there. So back between the tires, but it's going to be counter angle.
Если еще у них обоюдные ноки будут.
Exactly, and the way that Korea is doing this is the exact same way we saw Korea play things earlier. Don't aggress, but aggress.
Там все в руках корейцев будет.
Force them to fight, enjoy the third-party opportunity, unless if this circle shifts down.
Видите? Турки с бразильцами все, заняты делом. Корейцы, они чисто
Yeah, I mean, and you nailed it earlier. This is
кайфуют.
Korean play style where they love to just control as much space as possible. You know, find these flank angles, take kills like this. You know, let the other teams do some of the heavy lifting. Now Haven still trying to find an angle here, but he's going to see Loki looking down. So
кто вообще рассчитывает эти проценты победы? Бред. У турков процент победы больше, чем у ребят из Бразилии, хотя турки в дерьме находятся. Как будто процент победы считается от того, как близко ты к центру находишься.
And to me, a lot of this is, the preparation that Sparking has been putting in. I mean, obviously there's a ton of talent here, right, on this team, and Sparking's been talking up the whole team, not just Haven, but, LFP and VHC, and everybody here is really, really good, but...
Если мы смотрим на позиционку конкретно сейчас, то у бразильцев куда кайфовее.
At the hotel late at night, just watching VOD,
чем у всех.
And watching, rotation videos and stuff, just doing all the prep that is necessary to win this event.
Что за проценты?
Exactly. Brazil already won in the back today, looking to see if they can find one more circle. Hard shift southeast. Korea has to move. Turkey has to move. Now the tides have turned. Somehow Brazil.
Тяжело корейцам сейчас будет. Все просто. Зона просто на Бразилию играет. Не знаю, все куплено. Сейчас корейцы в Open будут вынуждены играть.
They were hoping that they could sort of corral Brazil and Turkey into each other. It just didn't work out that way. And I think Turkey's probably the juicier target here, if I'm being honest.
По бразильцам нужен один ног и все.
Really fortified.
Exactly. No way they're going to get up there without a fight. Now they already have an Onyx down in the field itself. There should be no way for them to be able to progress over towards Brazil. Having said that, we've seen Korea attempt some crazy plays before it might just work, and Onyx falls down. That is their field control taken. Here comes the car 3, and one jumps out early. Korea trying to make an aggressive dash for safety. They're going straight into LFP. LFP finds one, finds the second as well. He is already the top damage dealer, and Brazil takes out Korea.
Yeah, Korea tried to fake an Onyx towards Turkey and then see if they could hit Brazil, catch them off guard a little bit. Did not work out at all, and now you have Brazil with 3 up versus Turkey.
Как это было отвратительно.
But Haven gonna get the opening strike and gonna look to follow up with the grenade.
Absolutely unstoppable. These Brazilian boys had something good for breakfast, and they're coming in full speed forward. Turkey not getting a foot to the ground. Sparking finds one more. Eski does manage to find one in return, but 1v2 situation here. Needs to pull the rabbit out of the hat in order to be able to bring this one home.
Well, he's got an opportunity because Haven and LFP are pretty isolated. LFP's trying to go for the res onto Sparking, though. If Eski can get Haven here, he's got a decent opportunity. Oh, I take it back. LFP has come over to help, and Haven good enough on his own to take the game, and Brazil is on a roll.
Absolutely phenomenal performance by Brazil. They win game number 1 of the day. They win game
Корейцы
number
какую-то херню
3
исполнили.
as well. 2,300 damage from Brazil that game. And again, this was not just a cakewalk. They had to fight.
Ладно, пошел я свою бедную спину беречь.
And they come out victorious once more.
Just absolutely
Вообще недоволен результатами игры. Капец.
We need to take it over to the desk and let them break this all down for us. Kalaris, what do you got?
Well, Brazil absolutely elated with that one after already starting off the day, as you guys say, with that win. Another one on the board, and they know they've taken #1 right now in the standings. What a performance by Brazil.
Incredible. First to 3, the confidence. LFP, he hasn't been getting as much love as Haven has, but he's getting the kills too. I gotta be honest, I went to breakfast this morning, and the 4 of those guys were walking around with hubris and confidence. They weren't looking at the other teams. They were just there in their place, just like they are in this game.
They have fantastic synergy, fantastic morale, and after this, they're going to be hard to stop, honestly. 16 kills as well. That is insane, guys.
Sparking told me there was no better Brazilian team in terms of options. They put together a championship team. They found this brilliant young gun in Haven, but everyone is pulling their weight.
That's a big point. We've talked earlier about Haven, how he's standing up for the team. It's LFP as well here, Martin, looking at how he's able to play these out. He was just 1 kill behind Haven in the previous situation, and now look how many points he's putting up as well.
It's one of the youngest rosters as well here, and these guys, you can see how proud they are representing Brazil, being able to come here and show, even though they didn't play too much together, Sparking's playing out of Brazil and not playing in that, but in general, America's had a fantastic day.
Well, Sparking said, despite that he's playing in North America right now, the people he plays with and he plays for fun is this team. He said LFP and VHC are his major pub buddies. They've been playing together for years, and the only question they had was, how will Haven fit in? And I think you see that in the way that they're playing. They're playing separate but together, and they're getting aggressive.
Coming into the final moments of this game, I've been saying it to you guys multiple times this tournament. I don't like a South Korea with 0 kills towards the end when they're not playing hot, but when they're hot, I put a lot of stock in them, and Brazil was able to deal with them as well, Martin.
Yeah, the way that they managed that, and also LFP, his spray, his contact in general, where 2 people pull up on you on a car, usually you lose those situations. He got both of them. Fantastically executed.
And keep in mind, they got the shift. They were on the ridge. They could have held it and let the other teams fight it out. Instead, they took the fight to Korea, and by the end of that match, Turkey was just stuck in the south, and Brazil controlled everything that was out there. I love the confidence.
It's a win for Brazil, and that is their 3rd now out of the games we've played so far here at the PUBG Nations Cup, and that is pretty much unprecedented in this amount of games here, Martin, so they have got to be flying high.
I love when Sparking stands up, he just pulls up his arm. Literally, Sparking Tattoo with a mini
That's my
8X.
name.
That's how we roll. I love that. Here, as well, the utility from Turkey, though, guys. We have to talk about 27 smokes.
Yep.
I think that's a record.
That is, and I know I'm gonna keep talking about Brazil, but a lot of people have talked about, okay, like they had a couple games where they hunkered down or they found some circles near them.
Yeah.
This is a game where they traveled farther than any other team that was in the Final Four, so whether or not they get the circle, it doesn't matter. They're making good plays, they're moving fast, their timing is good, and they trust each other to make the plays, and you can see it in the numbers.
Exceptionally powerful on Miramar, especially. We constantly are seeing them in the upper echelons of these games.
8 games played, 3 wins.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people would have said that, even though these guys are fantastic players.
Agreed.
And they've been able to mesh in super well. They lost their 4th player playing as 3 since 13 and a half minutes. The last 20 minutes or so, they played as 3 and still played it as a 4-man team in terms of the space that they were taking.
Let's take a look at the final moments then here. Once again, Vietnam continues to still survive into these final moments. They're getting big points too.
I have a deep respect for the survivability of Vietnam. They work really well as a group, but they also work really well when sort of they lose 1 or 2 and have to do sort of fall off survival mechanics. They pick up kills, they get points. They got 6 in that match, and they consistently show up in the top 5. They are playing a points per game system, and it's working.
And we haven't really had much chance to talk about Turkey, but here they are finally, Martin, showing up. We know that they're capable. We know that these are good players. It's taken a while for them to get the engine starting.
Yeah, and you know, it's day number 2. If they're able to get started now and they're able to get this consistency rolling with the kills, with their placement, I would like to see that. 12 points, though. If you can put that in, if you can get double digits some of the games, you're going to be fine. But they are right now having a little bit of a harder time after day number 1. But 26 points in total for Brazil. Insane game for them.
Yeah, that pushes them guaranteed up to number 1 here. As, of course, Finland, not the best of games for them, not really keeping their average up. It was a hard time for them anyway. Likewise, UK, who was up there before, not really having the best of times. But the fact that we see, once again, Korea having a not exactly the most amazing points placements, but overall big kill points coming in. They like it.
They're holding on to the top 5. They're trying to stay in there, but still, when you have 2 teams like Brazil and Finland to be able to put up this many points in their big games, it's going to be hard to kind of keep on keeping on.
Yeah, but Finland feels a little bit like it's backsliding right now. We've had a couple of games that just haven't clicked quite right, and they're falling off. Argentina on the up, and Haven, this guy, this young man, has proven that he deserves to be the talk of the town. It's even that last match, the final kill. It's always, the observers know, if there's a fight, jump to Haven.
I mean, we opened the day saying with the first win that they were able to get, this guy is having a career-defining performance. I feel like all of these guys at this point are having career-defining performances, and we're not even halfway.
Imagine in a couple of years when this guy doubles his playtime, doubles his experience. He's a prospect to be looking at going into the rest of the year, 2023. Super excited here for Haven.
It's a brilliant performance overall. Great to watch as well. Brazil now doing extremely potently at the top, I mean,
to be blunt, I think that 22 Esports' mailbox is going to start to fill up because people are going to be interested for Haven.
Brazil takes the lead. Number 1 here in the green, yellow, and blue. And Finland has been knocked off of that perch. There is still a small divide between that 3rd and 4th position. Somehow, UK is still in the top 3 after having, what is fair to say, Martin, a bit of a disaster of a start of the day.
A little bit of a rough time here on Miramar. Has been generally just roughing them right, but still 17-point lead for Brazil down to Finland, and another lead of 18 points, down from Finland down to United Kingdom. The top 3 is pushing so far ahead of the rest of the lobby.
Very impressive indeed. We're having those contenders trying to ramp themselves up a little bit. China is starting to kind of get that engine going as well, it feels a little bit.
I've seen that game as well as the first one. They looked for third parties. They weren't afraid to take fights. They got 5 kills in that match. China feels like they're amping up. Maybe this sort of Petricard new happy synergy is clicking in a little bit. And yesterday was strange. I don't know what was going on there. But today they feel more like the willing to take fights and take some risks China than I expected.
You have to remember, 2 of the players are from the PGC winning team. Their coach is from there as well. We are, you can see the fans as well. It's also, we are expecting them to be performing for a top 4 performance easily. 73% plus of the pick-in votes. Out of a million votes, more than a million votes, is literally on them.
Never mind having Ike's left, the walking highlight reel machine. And he can make things happen, that is for sure. We said it whilst we were sat down kind of watching these games unfold and stuff like that. Even if these guys aren't necessarily hitting their rotations, we know that their fighting potential is off the charts.
It is, and I also am willing to bet that last night social media wasn't so kind to them. They have very dedicated fans, and after their performance yesterday, I'm sure they got all kinds of encouragement. Another team that's getting encouragement, Thailand, has been showing up today. They've been getting their time, they've been getting their kills, and they've been getting some points for Martin.
Yeah, like a little rear-wheel drive car, you know, they're slow off the line to get things going, but once they get that momentum moving, Thailand here with the home crowd advantage, Martin, you know, they're getting some stuff done.
My most expensive player had a fantastic run in this game. He managed to get a multiple, 3 or 4 knocks.
Yes.
Managed to get 2 frags onto China. I'm okay with it. If they're able to continue to evolve here, and the rest of the guys are not trolling me, I'll be fine.
It's also important to remember for everyone at home that this is the first time they played together. Belmoth was a late ad because Pushus couldn't make it.
True.
And the reality is they're finding their tracks.
53% of the frags is from Nerns. My pick from Team Thailand.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
It is a good pick.
His prize was good because his performance in PCS6 APAC was out of the charts. Literally the best player there. Him and Flash, they trade dominating. I had so much trust in them, especially here for the home turf advantage. And maybe if they step it up, they're able to grab the trophy.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's now time to go into another game. We are changing things up. Erangel is on the way. Let's take to the plane and let's drop over by the casters.
All right, thank you very much, Kay Laris. I'm Paper Thin, and joining me is Matchroom Matt. First of all, it's been a long time, my friend, since we have seen each other since we've been in person together.
I know what it was. GLL, the last
Season
LAN.
4, yeah.
This was the pairing that we had right before COVID kicked off. So great to be back with you and moving into Erangel, which has been very, very good to United Kingdom so far, and where we've been seeing Brazil have some problems. Brazil is definitely being favored on those Miramar maps, so let's see if the trend continues, or maybe Brazil just having phenomenal momentum coming into this is going to turn things up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was talking to the UK team yesterday after the matches, that was kind of their sort of takeaway from yesterday was just, well, we played really good on Erangel, but we didn't play well in Miramar, and today's kind of the same thing. So, yeah, it almost feels like now if UK is really going to push for the championship, that it has to start here on Erangel today again.
I mean, okay, at the end of the day, we're going to be 50% of the way through, and yes, Brazil is getting a lead. But that doesn't mean the fact that these other teams still don't have a chance. We've been seeing the fact that teams can still surmount these odds. But the longer and longer you wait to find out what's going on, it means the fact that you're just going to have to chase so much more. And especially, Brazil isn't pumping the brakes at all. These guys know the fact that they're finding their successes and are not afraid to continue to push the boundaries of what they can do.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, because I think in the history of PUBG esports now, we've seen it where a team will come out to a pretty big lead for the first half of the tournament and then kind of falter through the rest of it.
Так, ну что, у нас Ирангель. 4-й матч на сегодня, предпоследний, и опять неплохая зона. Посмотрите просто. Хорошие новости для корейцев, которые летят в Ясную Поляну. Так, ребят, у нас 9 лайков до соточки. Может быть, допинаем их? Вообще, я хочу себе сделать вкусный кофе уже. Забыл что-то. Сексуальные усики.
I gotta say, I'm starting to feel whenever we move into big events, we're gonna see a new Brazilian player pop off in some way. Remember, back in PGIS, it was Sparking who made a massive name for himself inside of that. We're looking at PGC, the performance overall from their teams and how they managed to move forward. And now we're seeing Haven come in and have a phenomenal performance of his own. It seems like continually we're starting to see a lot of superstars come out of Brazil.
There's tons of talent there. I mean, with Sparking kind of leading the way as sort of a leader this event mentally and not just in game but also out of game. I can see him. He's always bigging up his players. He's giving them words of confidence. He's having fun. When I bump into him in the team in the halls outside, he's just joking around. They're having a good time. So all the right mentality is here for
Ой,
the team.
капец, моя спина сдохнет нафиг.
Now the question
Хайсаки.
Vietnam. These guys
Хайсаки?
a little all over the place.
Что за никнейм
That
такой?
being said, they're very fun to
Что он
watch. These guys
означает
have
на
a
их?
very good awareness of what their win conditions are, and when they need to pounce, the problem is just finding a way to get in the positions. Rotations have not been friendly to them.
Yeah, at times it seems like they haven't quite figured out how the lobby is maneuvering and the timings and things like that. So for the Vietnam team, again, I'm telling you, these guys are so good, top to bottom. I love watching them in APAC. Clories in particular has just a sixth sense on how to kind of stay alive, get into the late game, get extra points for his team if things go sideways early. So they've got good fallback plans behind, early stumbles. Now we'll see if today they can continue to right the ship a bit. They've had a decent day so far, of course, up there in 5th place with 60 points. It's a team that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, and personally, I had them definitely finishing top 8, and I thought for sure top 5 was possible.
I know a lot of people are sleeping on USA right now, including themselves, not having the best of turnout today. I know a lot of people are having expectations for them, myself. But I mean, we've seen signs of life coming from them, with the exception of, I don't know.
Надо будет завтра на стримчике что-нибудь разыграть. Что-то я совсем забыл. Надеюсь, до завтра спина плюс-минус пройдет.
Yeah, I get what you're saying a lot because like the Sonics in particular have always impressed me on Miramar and Trimsy. I thought maybe they would be able to get touched. They had an okay day. They're just kind of, they seem to just be a little off in terms of like coordination and working together.
Ну, я так понимаю, Смэш приехал, не? А, нет. Ребята решили очкануть. Пропустить лучше. Не рисковать.
It's these near misses is what's going on with USA, so I have to see if maybe they can start to rally that. That said, if you guys have your map open, Australia has been kind of quiet today, but already in a good central position. You can see making their movement in. It's almost like I know where the spectators are going to go.
Хотелось бы, конечно, посмотреть большую карту. А, ну все, Фишер приехал.
Fisher, you might want to get the hell out of there. This is going to be a problem real fast, man.
Пострелял, красавчик.
Couldn't even finish the word problem and he was already done. So good job here by Australia to react quickly to take the point. And for Argentina, they opt for an early 2-1-1 spread, and those are difficult, and especially in lobbies like this where teams are going to feel you out. We've seen that Australia and others have been keen to try to take those odd man advantages. I mean, think about the first game yesterday where they pounced on Canada early.
I also feel like Australia was performing significantly better on Erangel itself. That said, the rest of this lobby has a big problem. We've got Korea that's in Yasnaya, and then just to the east of that, we've got Australia, and then north of this is all Stalbert. So congratulations on trying to make rotation through this map, and I hope it all ends well, because we even have Brazil that's coming over here and taking over Lippo, so there's very few options to safely rotate.
Капец, вообще башка ни о чем не думает, кроме того, как болит моя спина. Как я раньше вообще целый год стримил с такой спиной? Я в шоке, нафиг. Это они типа хотят показать, что тут какой-то файт? Или что? Постреляли такие деловые. Так, корейцы и японцы у нас в Ясной. А почему корейцы втроем? Они потеряли кого-то? А, он наверху Иноникс, понял.
Other notables that we can talk about is China is up around Severny, and Finland is coming in around shooting range, not quite in the circle just yet.
Корейцы зато, наверное, налутались просто от души.
Almost everybody is in a comfortable position right now with very few moving factors going on. You can see, I guess Loki was just a little bored, saying that I don't make his own fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's probably one of those things.
Финны заезжают.
Oh, I don't want to mess with this. Just in case there's a grenade that blows up in here or something.
Как думаете, есть у Германии шансы выиграть турнир?
It's crazy how often that actually is a factor. You don't get a chance to notice it because you see the explosion, but then you'll often hear the players talk about, oh yeah, there was a gas can back behind me, I just didn't see.
You have to be really aware, and you'll see teams like maneuver those around to make them look like they're in spawn spots.
Finland, that could be a problem. Getting pretty close to China, but I think that they should be able to rotate away from this one. It was just one player that was getting a smidgen too close to Severny. Finland should be pathing along this route, going to the northeast.
Фига он на двух колесах покатался, красавчик. У нас, походу, на улице погода налаживается. Сегодня днем был дождь, был прохладненько было. Сейчас, походу, жара.
They've made it to circle 3, which is what they were having trouble with yesterday.
Yes, it is impressive to see them get beyond the first couple circles as well. But a big part of it is that their timing, their senses are better honed today than they were yesterday. So I think for now they're probably just going to trail Finland for a while, see if they can kind of corral Finland to fight some other teams first, and then try to rake in the points. It's very much the style they like to play.
Just secondary scouting. See if anybody shoots at the squad that's in front of them that they're kind of stalking, and if they do, hey, counts, get the third party, and if you don't, hey, easy rotation. Double up victory either way you look at it.
Easy rotation.
Finally,
блин, я же так и корейцев не нашел. Корейцев же хотел. Мужики, 3 лайка до соточки. Ой, сейчас как лягу, короче, и все, походу. Буду сегодня целый день лежать в постели. Намажу там себе спину.
I think there's just a lot of potential, a lot of smart players. Yeah, it hurts to lose Adam, no doubt about it for the day. I hope he gets better soon, of course, but it's still like, you know,
может, что-нибудь противовоспалительное еще бахнуть.
You know, I think if they just find a little bit of success, they can kind of reset mentally, refocus, and kind of propel to really good results.
I mean, Adam's been having himself a phenomenal performance across what he's been working in. It is a shame about the food poisoning, but you're trading one to Dono for another one, and these are some historic players and coaches. They're going to play. They can fill a similar slot.
104, спасибо, ребят, спасибо огромное. Ух, еще и попал.
Australia and Tiggleton are going to take some shots at them as well, but that's really about it. UK's Michael also has a spot that they've already held down.
Блин, ну 10 минут один фраг просто. Какая дичь этот паб сейчас компетитив. Вообще жесть просто. Первые 10 минут, первые 10-15 минут игры. Я буду это повторять вечно. Что это полное дерьмо. В PUBG можно демки про игроков или команд смотреть? Именно демки нет. Если только он сам тебе скинет со своего компа, при этом у них там версия игры немножечко другая. На eSport серверках в любом случае.
I gotta say, this is going to be a crappy rotation for everybody. We've got the lake that's coming in over here. That's going to be cutting out the area around the S9. Stolber itself just denies everything. So you've got to do a wide.
Корейцы поехали в ангар. У них, походу, есть инфа, что там никого нету.
Or just brave gunning it by Korea that's going to be holding that choke point? Yeah, please, I'll pass on that.
No thanks, yeah, right? I mean, just buckle up because I think we might be having some early fighting here.
Какой массаж вообще, когда у тебя воспалительные процессы, никакого массажа нельзя делать. Ты чё? Ё-моё. Сначала должно воспаление уйти. Здорово, Алексей Михайлович. Как ты там? Так, хочу кофе, вообще, капец. Я реально мог сделать кофе. 10 минут ни хрена не происходило.
Yeah, the dominoes are falling here as every team is trying to make their way in towards this next circle. Korea's trying to push all the way to the top. Yeah, all the way to the top of the mountain. They want to
Ой, на финнов прямо заезжает. Ладно, хоть на зетке. Ой. Дигери понял, да, что подъехал кто-то? Да, Дигери понял. Корейцы, финны и Америка. Боюсь, что сейчас корейцы отправятся в лобби. Заболел? Простыл, что ли? Слишком сильно в окно высовывался, чтобы покурить? Я что-то не понял. Там как будто... Блин, ну вы видите, финны просто со всех сторон. Всех нокают, такие мощные. Ну давай там не это. Не распускай себя. Кондишн. Есть такое. Зачастую кондиционер включаешь и уже чувствуется, что как будто вот сейчас ты заболеешь.
Yeah, this is great work here by Finland to be proactive on their defensive position. They're going to find 2 or 3 kills along the way. Yeah, and Onyx has got one of his own.
Привет из Удмуртии? Или из Удмуртии? Чё за Удмуртий такой?
It's a trap kickstart. He's thinking about it. And yeah, look at this. Loki's already going for this one. I mean, Loki's been having himself some good offside plays and flank positionals coming up from Korea and opening up a lot of opportunities. See, some other teams coming in now as it's going to be Vietnam trying to navigate.
Не знаю никаких Удмуртий. Удмуртиев.
Sparking just ran over Bard somewhere.
Yeah, why was he even out there? That's like
I mean, there's a lot of teams kind of stuck up on that northeastern side. Keenan gonna open up with a spray. Vietnam, a little bit of response from the car, so.
Блин, капец. Моя бедная спина. Так, корейцы у нас втроем остались. Бразилия сверху заезжает через китайцев. Но китайцы не стопнут. Там сейчас пацаны из Британии могли Тайвань наказать. Да ладно, ну как? Отлично, отлично. Корейцы молодцы, но там финны заезжают на них, по-моему.
Finland also saw this firefight and is moving down this hillside. They've got Taipei that's going to be back behind them, so they're being forced into this position. I don't know.
Ребята с Аргентины на финнов заезжают, нет? Рельефа до хрена, конечно, тут еще можно развернуться, так скажем. Ладно, корейцы у нас уже вышли на 3-ю строчку. 3 в живых. Все хорошо. Напомню вам, друзья, идет 4-я игра. И за 3 предыдущие игры ребята из Великобритании набрали 3 поинта. А за прошлые 5 игр набрали 89 поинтов. Стоп. 69 поинтов. 68 поинтов. Что-то я это попутал. Вот это разительные изменения, да, в игре команды. Вчера уверенно дрючили всех. Думаю ли я, что китайцы выиграют? Нет, думаю, что китайцы не выиграют. Я думаю, что корейцы могут. Но финны себя хорошо показывают. Бразильцам пока чисто везет. Типа бразильцы, на мой взгляд, не сильно играют. Просто вот как-то им так у них все складывается. Да Михалыч уже старый человек, я думаю, знает, чем лечиться. And that is just landing right on top of him. Vex got a beautiful angle on the side of it. LFB is going to be down. Ну и тут же Фекса сметают. Ну Heaven... Heaven'а должны забрать. Хотя что-то...
What a turn there by Haven with 14 HP, trying to throw some stuns outside of the smoke. He's going to go around the edge, catches the foot.
Да это что за мансы?
Everybody is just dancing around trying to spot it. DHC gets a spray into one, trying to pick up more. Haven's outside in the blue, and it is just running forward, listening to whatever you can find, using that frame. Oh, gets caught while he's going for the throwable.
I mean, what a maneuver there to throw the stun at his feet while he's running through the smoke to distract his opponents to give his teammate a chance to pick up a big kill.
See how we see this VHC making a counter move around. We still have UK alive to the north of this, but Taipei has been listening to it as well as China to the south, and both of these teams are waiting to pounce on whatever's going on. They feel like they can pick up some points. You can see on the opposite side of this, there are very few ways to move around it. Argentina and Finland now bumping into each other.
I mean, eventually Finland's just been fighting too much. They took.
Ну ладно, 3 поинта за эту катку набрали, просто как за прошлые 3. Неплохо уже.
Gonna line up the grenade, comes up just a bit short there, and Michael, ooh, this might give him an opportunity here to at least try to find the kill on the VHC.
1v1 that never ends, but Chinese Taipei has vision on it. Are they going to let Michael at least try to get his fight off? No, Australia also doing a lot of supervision on what's going on down this hillside.
Михалыч помоложе тебя будет?
No matter which way he goes, he's going to
Думаешь?
get spotted out. It's just a matter of time before
Михалыч так-то
vision on
старый
him.
уже.
Finally, it is going to be Saber takes down Michael. Now it's just a
Сколько
matter of
тебе,
what we
Ян?
see going on
Ну-ка
to the
давай,
north of
вскрывай
it.
карты.
All right, VHZ, you're going to try to send it, but there's no safe way to send it.
Yeah, but he's got a revolver. Easy win, right? All right, Martinson going to take care of Luke 12 there as VHC going to try to wrap around China's flank. Xiaolu opens up, not able to find a tire or any damage. This compound is open, but it's outside of the next circle, so if VHC has to stop here, it will give him a moment to heal up or whatever he's
Так, там Мэкси добили, что ли, его? У финнов остался один мужчина. Турки рассыпаются. 56? Ну, думаю, Алексей Михайлович помоложе будет, да. Лет на 10. Михайлович, тебе сколько там? Хотя нет, наверное. Поменьше, чем 10. Или сколько? Что-то душно стало, капец. 18? Наберешь. Он еще и на дроп приехал. Дроп, который не лутанный, кстати. Смотрите, у нас все финалисты остались в количестве одного человека. Бразилия уже все, можно сказать, списанный боец. Финны списанный боец. А вот корейцы...
does have a good position for it, but China still inside the safe zone has multiple gatekeeping positions to play from.
Well, Nuren's has a good flank. Nobody's going to be behind him, but China's just winning their fight every other way. I mean, Nuren's does a good job here, but it just doesn't matter. The rest of Thailand is just stuck on the bad side of the circle, so that leaves Nuren's out on.
Что стало открытием для меня? Для меня стало открытием это моя боль в спине, которая сегодня я нагнулся в холодильнике взять что-то. Я охренел. Вот это для меня открытие сегодняшнего дня. Это может быть намек, типа, хватит жрать или что? Немцы кого-то закрыли! А, ну ненадолго им там, походу.
Trying to wrap around the bottom, trying to see if he can catch the early vision onto the Germany players. Meanwhile, he's got backup from every other angle. He's going to be the tip of the spear here, along with his teammate ZP Yan from New Happy. First grenade is out. It's right on the money. That's going to be one down. And now they're looking for the second. They're going to find it.
Немцы ультанули, и мана кончилась.
Damn! All I can say, Germany had no idea what hit them there. It was just nades into instant spray. Now we can see that China's going to move back to the north of this. Korea's still doing a good job at defending up. They're taking shots at Indonesia, who's outside the safe zone, and trying to corral them into Japan, who's going to be the east of where Indonesia is at. This position still quite strong as it is to the south of center.
Не прогибайся ни перед чем, даже перед холодильником.
Actually true. I mean, he has a great position right now by gift of everyone else fighting. I mean, Tiggleton, that shouldn't surprise.
Да какая дота? Я вечером буду лежать в постели и ныть, как у меня болит спина.
Gonna have enough time to go for the ear. Now, Mao, you're at rush, of course, knows exactly where Tiggleton is, more or less. That grenade decent. The follow-up has to be better.
Ой, хорошо. Один остался.
Now he's the only competitor up against China in the north part of this circle. The south still trying to be worked out as Japan and Indonesia.
Средний возраст игроков 20 лет, я думаю. Я вчера так частично почекал. В основном пацанам 19, 20, 21, 22. Есть, конечно, динозавры по 25 лет. Но старше не видел ни одного.
Shiva now very close to Kid X, and that's kind of the remnants on what's going on with Indonesia, how long they can manage to survive it out. Kid X is playing this one pretty slow.
Ой, ну чё, я болею за корейцев. Корейцы, давайте. Вы посмотрите, китайцы даже живут. Пока еще.
Keep the other teams backed off as much as they can. A little bit of damage done to Shiva, but he's able to prone enough, and Korea has to back off.
Ребят, пока не забывайте скинуть лайк там свой. Чё держать его, нагружать себя, таскать лишнее? Ну, в Японию не верю вообще. Тиглтон один ничего не сделает. Вьетнам тоже ничего не сделают. У нас остаются корейцы и китайцы. С учетом того, что корейцы находятся прямо под японцами, в теории японцы могут занозить корейцам. У нас китайцы вторую игру за сегодняшний день хорошо играют уже. Сколько это будет проходить? В воскресенье, последний день. 4 дня всего. Нормально. Вы с Михалычем разумный песок просто.
Yeah, actually, Vietnam's just kind of stuck prone on the side of the hill. China has been putting pressure on them. Korea's been putting pressure on them. So,
плохо, что корейцы получаются по центру. Корейцам уже надо выигрывать, иначе они тильтанут. У них вторая игра такая.
That Vietnam is stuck in a bad position, and they're absolutely going to try to punish them for it. I also got to point out here that Kane still had like 6 frag grenades left. So, dude, Japan can really find some value here if they have to, like, say, fight Korea, try to take Korea out of that house. That means they have a lot of utility to displace the teams.
С детства за Вьетнам.
I mean, having nades out, you can just do so much damage from such a safer position. It looks like China might have an idea on what's going on with Vietnam. Nades thrown out, looks like it even curved down the hillside. That's one down. Spots out the other one, and that was quick and easy. Vietnam
вот он твой Вьетнам.
China still in firm control over half of the circle.
China's got control of this game. Unless there's a double hard shift towards Korea's compound, they really should have this game more or less wrapped up. I mean, with Shaolu there on the northern flank to make sure that that stays clear. Japan is going to try a bit of a split here right now as they continue to just completely encompass the southeastern edge of this circle. They're going to use this opportunity to heal up and get ready. Meanwhile, Korea...
Ну, пока корейцы сидят в домах, у них все хорошо. Надо, чтобы Japan с Чайной зафигачились.
Trying to get at least an idea on how people are rotating around them. Circle does pop, and Korea.
Ну все, корейцы сидят дальше в домах. Посмотрим, что будут делать китайцы. Должны закуситься с Японией. Там лошок в тело получил Савика. Хорошо, что китайцы не пошли пушить кемп. Пошли играть лево. Это очень хорошо для корейцев. Очень хорошо. Максимально просто хорошо. Хотя что-то они стопорнули, не идут дальше. Japan назад отходит. Знаете, вот если сейчас Japan не будут никак вмешиваться в файт между китайцами и корейцами, это плохо тоже. Да, корейцы.
pop some more people with that AWM. He's already been pretty hot with it. He can do some more damage to Korea, beat up those vests. You can see Lash K's vest broken, and I guarantee it was from that AWM shot that we heard ring out earlier. Now, you know, it's just everybody I think has about enough space that they can kind of wait this out, Matt.
Everybody's playing for circle right now, and that's why we're not hype, we're not screaming. Everybody's just trying to feel out what's going on. We are still in phase number 7, so we've got some time, and it's really about the information collection phase right now. You're trying to find out, okay, who's rotating where? We know how many people are up. Japan
Киноникс получил от Джапена.
taking those shots reveals him, and China's also now going to know.
Китайцы очень, блин, что-то медленно. Во, увидел. Отлично, давай.
They're going to understand the angles that Japan can see down into those houses as well. So, you know, Kane there going to go fishing with his AWM, gets popped a few times by China, but is able to fully heal, no problem. Still has a full level, or pretty close to full level 3 helmet. The vest is pretty beat up, as you would expect at this point in the game, but, you know, all it takes is a couple really good shots with this gun, and it's a game changer.
Right, playing it slow. Keen's got himself a good angle, but man, it is a scary angle to go from X-Lift, trying to get some damage in, and it's really just shots across a wide open area. Korea hears everything that's going on, but nothing connecting to really make anybody want to make any movements. This is a very wide open terrain to try to push across. Goes for it, doesn't connect. Even if you see a knock, it is going to be so scary to cross this distance for it. Trying to see if maybe you can get some damage on it, get some knocks. Maybe that could provide something, but it is so hazardous to move through this circle.
Oh, just a bit late on that follow-up shot, but China has to make a move. They have to rotate as the circle is just sort of centered up. Kane here trying to line up, trying to find the timing, trying to find the angle. Loki is going to be able to see a bit of Shaolu there. So,
ну, это хорошо, что китайцы наконец начали файтиться с ребятами с Японии.
Loki's got some vision on what's happening. See if maybe he can hit the backside of what trying to pull out, but not going to get enough. And it's really just a peak battle all across the circle.
All right, Kane, you've got an opportunity here to maybe start getting into range of those grenades as well. Your teammates here to back you up, and Ming Ming taking a whole bunch of damage from the crossfire of Korea and Japan. Left trying to just look around and trying to back off the angle that Poly has there, but right now it's going to require smokes to move forward.
China is trying to live so hard. I mean, they're navigating this as well as you can, considering they're caught inside of a crossfire. They can't even make it inside the safe zone. They still have about another 20 meters that they're trying to do, and they're using all of their smokes, throwing down a wall, trying to deny vision, and now it looks like they're opting into assaulting the Korean side of this. That means Japan's gonna have the high ground, trying to start spraying into what's going on, but Korea already knows. They've got a read on it, goes into the spray, Lu goes down, Ming Ming drops to his belly, and now it's a waiting game, trying to figure out if they can make the assault, and Nonix drops nades right on top of him, and China is running out of members. They don't have any way to make it
Но
into
вот,
this.
скорее всего, корейцы уже не выигрывают этот финал между... Ой-ой, ног, дай ног! Ну, Зипьян! Зипьян, наверное, от зоны умрет. Сейчас все зависит от прока. Типа, если прок будет в сторону корейцев, они выиграют. Если в сторону японцев... А, у нас последняя зона, боже. Ну... Вот если бы этот был ног, это было бы хорошо. Отлично. Слушайте, ну так выглядит, что пока корейцы могут забирать игру. Все-таки по стрельбе они хорошо играют, и позиционно у них лучше сейчас положение, потому что японцы по опену спускаются. Что-то я забазарился в телефоне и даже не посмотрел, что это последняя зона, уже тупанул.
Up on the top of it, getting a read on how Korea is assaulting this. Are the shots going to connect? Can they make this work? You know Japan wants it so bad. Korea, though, wanting to climb up. They know the fact that they're starting to assault the top of the leaderboard, and this could be an opportunity for them. But it's all going to come down to these couple of shots between them. And Nonix finally starting to make the run out. And it does! And now Japan has all the authority inside this fight, and Japan takes the win.
Japan выиграли одну игру. Блин, у корейцев опять неудача.
And even though Korea gets a few free kills onto China as they try to come in, it's Japan who holds firm at the end.
We talked about it. If you're going to come in here and you are a newer roster from what is a quote-unquote weaker region, don't just sit back and try to get into the late game. Figure out what fights you can win. Figure out how you can play for your victory. And that's exactly what Japan did. They have not played a single bit of this scared, and they should be so proud of themselves for that victory. I know our analyst desk, though, has a ton of things to talk about because there were so many rotations, cool plays. You guys, take it away.
That's right, a huge win for Japan here as they're able to rocket up towards Salba. We have got ourselves Office as well as Avenger to break this one down. It was an all-Asia affair towards the end here at Martin as we see quite the conflict and quite the stalemate for quite a while in these final moments.
In general, this compound here is so rough to get out of because you can get help from so many different angles. And you can see that as well with Kain on the high ground. That knock with the arm, though, Toughies, that was crucial to turn the fight around.
It was beautiful, and I think you said it when we were back there in the green. You said they got to get Klein has to get that shot, and I'll be honest, he missed quite a few of them. There was some stress there, but this is the second time that Japan has gone head-to-head with China and walked away ahead. They then took on Korea off the high ground, and they played so well. And I think that's great for a team in a region that doesn't often get as much respect as I think they deserve. So this is going to be very big for them and their fans.
Нет, еще одна игра. Все, я пошел свою спину опять расслаблять на диване.
Stalber is literally one of the hardest areas to predict in terms of terrain, where to move, how to play, because it's rare we see circles there, and also, as you say, the amount of area that you can play, small dips, small rocks that you have to play, and the map awareness that you need to be able to succeed is so crucial to take the win home.
It was almost like we played 4 games of Miramar to a certain extent because of the playing with the up and down, the difference in height, the fact that you can hide anywhere, no buildings really outside of that little compound that Korea found. But Japan has been playing a totally different game today. They haven't been scared to take fights. They've been coming out and making smart plays. I mean, even with, you saw that flex down, they ultimately lost a player sort of because Pauly was locking up that one side. But they're not scared to break off and play singles if they need to close down angles, and it looks good.
No, definitely so. Very impressive stuff there, getting themselves some big points on the board alongside it all. But we got to talk about some of these other teams at the very end as well. Korea looked pretty decent here, Martin. They were able to take themselves plenty of kills alongside it.
Unfortunately, they got held inside the compound by China. If China pushed on all sides and they took the fight with Japan earlier, it would have been a whole different game because then Korea would have been outside the compound, maybe playing on the back side of the houses before they were pushed out by the blue zone, right? So it's all about that, and that's exactly what China was hoping for, to be able to kind of close them in, make sure they got the kills on Korea, and then take on Japan. But it didn't work out for them how Korea intended it to be, and it was too late. And Japan played it too well with both nades and smokes.
China had to go far in this game. They had to make moves, and as they're constantly making those moves here, Toughies, they have conflict themselves.
I mean, China's been on the hustle. They came today to play. They've been looking for fights. They've been hunting for third parties, and you see that with the 48,000. Like, they are going out there and looking to make things happen, getting involved in the fights, and it's paying off. And to juxtapose that, listen, I kind of against what you said with Korea. I know we love Korea, right? This is where PUBG comes from. They're a very popular team. But this is another game where they've been locked in a compound yet again. I feel like they're playing a little too defensive for me.
I think they're concerned after, going down to 3, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. When you lose one player, you go kind of into salvage mode. If you're not already in a far lead, you want to make sure that you get to the late game as much as possible, and then you try to squeeze out as many points as possible. They were hoping for China and Japan to fight, because then they could be the third-party factor.
That was my anticipation, I suppose.
Right.
We were talking about it as the game's going on, right? I assumed that maybe there would be that long-range fight kind of across the valley between China and Japan. Wasn't quite to be. I will say, kudos to China for trying the insane smoke wall that they tried to build.
Fantastic use of utility.
Yes.
But also, I want to say, I think the arm kind of scared China away from pushing that all inside, because if you take an arm shot to the chest, it's like 80+ damage. Headshot, no matter if you have 3 helmet or not, it's gone. You're knocked.
22 points going the way of Japan. A big boost up for them here in the standings as a whole, and then double digits going the way of China as well as Korea.
And a great shout out to the great smoke wall of China. They made some good plays. Japan was on fire, but for me also, you brought up sort of the recovery play Korea's going for with 3. Vietnam here again with yet another recovery detachment. They get really good points.
This is great to see. Shiva being able to take the top spot. I think Shiva alongside Kane was very, very instrumental here, and we've seen them both have big pop-up moments, even in games where they weren't necessarily winning.
And also nearly the 1K club. 55 damage off. That is a fantastic performance for him. If anyone have him on their fantasy source, they're going to be happy because that's a huge chunk of points there.
Yeah, that will be actually a pretty decent bargain, I do think. I don't think a lot of the Japanese players were too expensive for those fantasy teams, so nice bump up.
Again, it's an underrated region. They often are fighting for more respect, and I think that's going to mean a lot. They move up to 8th place off the back of that one.
Nice.
Brazil still manages to maintain, but that's partially because some of the big hitters are dropping off. And Korea back up into the top 3.
That's right. Not I'm not even going to talk about my team for the moment. But Japan getting on this left side of the board overall, a huge boost for them. China, of course, getting some kills too.
It really talks to how close our middle pack teams are in terms of fighting.
Yeah.
One good game, you're literally jumping 2, 3, 4 placements here, but still, guys, look at the little leaderboard here. 30 points lead from first down to 3rd place. If Brazil can continue this and kind of establish themselves, they're guaranteeing themselves a top 3 placement no matter what happens.
Yeah, definitely so. It will be too difficult to catch up if they continue pushing those averages. Scary here so far as the top teams are looking pristine and primed. One more game left here, though, for today.
I just hope they don't let off the gas. There's often a temptation when you get to that lead point, especially towards the end of a day, to say, hey, we had a good start. If we get 5 or 6 points per game, that's great. That's great for us. But that's not the Brazil that I expect to see. Brazil does best when they're out there to just ruin people's games. And if they keep doing that, I think they step up because China has taken on that mindset today, and they are doing well.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Time for a short break. When we return, one final game for the day. We go back to Erangel here for PNC.
PUBG ファンの皆様、どうもこんにちは。日本代表の森です。
こんにちは。日本代表のケインです。各国の実力を見せ合うオフラインで見せるっていうのは初めてなので、どのような結果になるかとても期待とワクワクという感じになっています。ワクワクしています。
日本国内で今一番実力があるのがシェバー選手のオーダーなので、他のメンバーも精密なショットができて、とても心強いので、やはりその辺がうまく噛み合ってくるとかなり強いチームになるんじゃないかなと思います。
2019年の PNC では11位という結果だったので、それを超えられるような順位にしたいというふうに思っています。
で今もやっぱり下部リージョンになってて、日本はそんなに強くないリージョンなので、そこを突っぱねて上位入賞を目指せるようなうちの姿を見せれるといいかなと思います。じゃあバンコクだ、バンコク行くぞ。
自分たちができることをやりたいと思ってますので、応援お願いいたします。We'll do our best.
We know that for each second in esports, you are dedicated to winning. Over a decade, XL Series has evolved alongside with gamers. We strive to make every product detail perfect so that you can perform at your best. Elevate your skill and maximize your potential with the ultimate gaming monitor. Zowie. Strive for perfection. Focus on winning.
태국 지금 오신 지 이틀 됐나요?
됐어. 한국말로 해야지.
아니 저희는 원래 태국 살아요. 사리카.
자 가자.
너무 크다.
오 뭐고? 야. 네. 출발하는 거야? Let's go.
Let's go.
아 시원하네. 여기 관광이네. 시원하다. 안에 있네. 생각보다 시원한데. 야 좋다. 여기다 집을 만든 것도 신기하다. 근데 이런 데 살면 재밌겠다. 카약 타고 가. 아 표지판도 있네. 그러네. 진짜 재밌겠다. 근데 나한테 웃어줬는데? 그러니까 이제 우리가 무슨 의미? 크릴라이트 돌아가 유턴. 옛날 산옥이네 여기. 옆에 것도 투스커드, 옆에 것도 투스커드. 팔짱. 찌밍. 다다다다다다다다다. 다다다다다다다다. 우와, 아무다 진짜 길어. 저거. 악어 뱀이네 뱀. 뱀. 그 넓은 가게야 이제. 와. 야 여긴 좀 무서운데? 여기 뭔데? 와 여기 좀 많이 넓네. 와 춥다. 진짜 벗어? 도라이 뭐야? 좋은데. 와 엄청 크다. 저 정도면 비교하면 들어주겠는데? 그러니까. 야 비자 무궁하게 해달라고. 무궁하게 해주세요. 무궁하게 해주세요. 무궁하게 해주세요. 복궁캅. 갑시다. 나.
여기 멋지다.
아 여기 걸을 수가 있는 곳이구나.
걷다 보니
신촌역 4번 출구 앞이야.
존나 많이 걸었는데? 와 씨.
이게 뭐야?
뭐야? 몇 스쿼드고 이거? 와 시작섬이다. 야, 수류탄 쿠킹해서 같이 가면 된다.
얘네 근데 위로 올라가고 싶은데 못 올라가는.
얘들 연하예요?
흐르는 강물을 진짜 걷다가 흐르는 연어들을. 직관 갔습니다 저거. 직관 가서 열심히 한국팀 응원했어요.
집에서 봤는데 저.
아니 언젠가 또 열리면은 되고 싶다는 생각했죠.
저기 나도 있고 싶다 이 생각하면서 봤던 거 같아.
될 줄 알았어.
나도. 그때 우리 얘기했잖아. 레시랑 효울이.
나 얘기한 건데. 나 한 번 더 할 줄 알았어. 아 진짜.
글쎄 외국에서 하는 거라서 다른 느낌인 것 같아. 한국이랑 좀 홈그라운드가 아니고 다른 데서 하다 보니까 좀 느낌이 좀 다른 것 같아.
물론 PCS에서 중국이 좀 강세를 계속 보이고 있는 건 맞는데 여기는 근데 중국이 딱 한 팀밖에 없잖아요. 충분히 저희가 여기서는 꺾을 수 있고
이번 계기를 삼아서 네이션스컵을 잡고 기세 타고 올라가 있어요.
글튼이는 아직 짬이 안 돼요. 쪼깐한 게요.
쫓겨나진 않은 것 같은데.
쪼깐한 게.
제일 그럼 견제되는 국가는 어디예요?
글튼이 형이요.
갑자기 형 됐어?
아니요 괜히 심기 건드리면 안 될 것 같아서.
도발은 안 한다. 트래시 토크는 안 한다.
루크는 건드릴 만해. Hey Luke, be careful. I kill you.
발음이 죽여주네.
걱정해주는 것 같은데.
너 잡아가.
다 때려잡고 우승하겠습니다.
태극기 휘날리고 오겠습니다.
화이팅!
Olá, fãs de PUBG. Meu nome é Sparking, sou do time Brasil e é um prazer conhecê-lo, fãs de PUBG ao redor do mundo.
Participar de Mundial sempre foi um sonho e agora ainda mais participou de Mundial e representando o país, nossa senhora, é uma sensação indescritível.
Eu já tive em 3 mundiais diferentes, mas esse aqui sempre foi meu maior objetivo, que era representar meu país, a minha bandeira, a minha seleção e representar o Brasil. Você não vai se arrepender de votar no Brasil.
Um dia a gente pensou em ser inimigos, hoje não pensamos mais, estão todos no meu bar e eu sinto muito mais confiante, porque nossa equipe parece que se tornou a equipe mais forte do campeonato.
Os 16 times que estão na Nations Cup, a maioria dos players nunca jogaram juntos, então acho que vai ter muito time sendo muito criativo, muito time fazendo coisas que nunca fizeram antes. Então esse campeonato tem tudo para ser um campeonato incrível e muito legal de assistir.
Comparado com o desempenho da última Nation 2019, nós faríamos algo totalmente diferente da última vez.
Bangkok! Eu tô indo pra Bangkok. O Brasil está indo pra Bangkok. Não vejo a hora de jogar Nations Cup na Tailândia.
Olê, 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 olá! É o Brasil que vai ganhar.
All right, Paper Thin, I know, show it to everybody. Excited over here because Japan did show themselves up in a great way. Also, Brazil. Love the fact that we're getting the Ole 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 song popping off. Also, you did see the fact that we're chilling out in Thailand right now, although I can't say chill. You saw the temperatures there.
It's warm!
It's pretty humid right now.
I don't deal well with warm weather. It's not,
I deal
not
well.
my thing.
It's 115
Yeah,
in Texas
you
right
live
now,
in
and it's
Texas,
hot
yes.
for me here. I know. Even though it says like 84, it's a lie.
You know who else is hot? Brazil.
They are.
They're very hot.
I'm really enjoying seeing how they're playing. Wasn't the best game for them last time around, even though VHD has, I don't know, magically found a way to get by China, which no other team has managed to find a way to do.
He did it. I mean, maybe it was a good timing in there, who knows, but still, credit where credit's due. To be able to squeak out any extra points you can, whatever, that's a mark of a good player, right? You see it with Clories, with Vietnam earlier. That's what's keeping you in there or keeping you ahead. Yeah.
Oh, that's just like Clories. I know, you look me in the eyes and you're like, whenever he destroyed USA earlier. Thank you. Thank you. I needed to remember
Sorry,
that
I had to rub it in. I did.
I know, it feels bad. Okay, but that said, more about celebrating what everybody's doing, because, I mean, we've been seeing some really unexpected performances. We're talking about Brazil all considered, but Japan having themselves finding more and more footing per game. We're also starting to see Chinese Taipei find ways to navigate some very, very good fights. I'm just being astounded by the fact that we were starting to think, oh, everything's coming up for UK, which was its own surprise pick, but now they've kind of calmed down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anything can happen. We're not even halfway through. Like, after this game, we'll have to be halfway through.
All right, where we go?
Not until then.
Let's go up.
All right.
Sorry, I had to do it once, man. I had to do it
No,
once.
I'm with you. We got to get it in while we can, right?
Moving into our last game of the day. Plane path's going to be pretty clear for everybody. We're going to be up over the Milta area, ending up over Zarki. Zarki Circle.
We can only hope. I know you and I are, like, you know, in total agreement that Zarki circles are among the best in PUBG. But we'll see. I mean, we've been having, you know, kind of mostly northern circles, so I'm sure the players don't want to see it. But I mean, Zarki is a completely different, like, area of the map than, like, near that crash plane in the shooting range.
Look, variety is the spice of life, and Zerky is variety for me. That's what I like to see. I mean, I'm pretty much down for whatever, but we'll have to see how this all stacks together. Brazil getting themselves an early drop inside. This is going to give them plenty of time to loot, but nothing too unexpected so far.
Yeah, everything should be, I think, pretty routine because of the way that this plane is, and because that it seems like most teams aren't
being
like,
routine?
Who would have
No,
thought?
never,
No hot drops?
never.
How dare they? How
just-
could they?
Early games in Erangel tend to be a little formulaic,
Yeah,
but that just means the fact that everybody that when you get everybody good, they know exactly how they need to move. But that also does mean the fact that the tension is constantly mounting. Like, I loved the fact in the last game that we saw, it was a slower approach into the end. It wasn't just a WT into the fight, and everybody was trying to feel everything out, China trying to find a way to survive, Japan reading the openings inside of that, Korea just fighting for their lives, trying to get that last fight. That's what I love about PUBG.
Yeah, and what's super cool about
Еле с дивана встал, чат.
have 3 of the PCS Asian teams, right? Oh, that's even that could that. You know what?
We got to circle cancel just.
Там бразильцы проплатили или что? Слушайте, ну зоны хотя бы сегодня интересные, да?
Yeah, no, this is exactly what we needed. Because you and I
Эта зона подразумевает большое количество файтов, которых ни хрена не будет, потому что все играют максимально аккуратно. Хотелось бы, конечно, какое-то количество файтов до начала второй фазы получить.
But that went completely in the opposite direction. And today, this Japanese team is playing so much better today. I'm watching them. They're confident. They're hitting great shots. They seem to be on a completely different level right now. And I really want to point out that you may not know a lot of these players because the Japanese teams, typically haven't been as good as Korea and Japan, so they're often kind of lost in the sauce of everybody talking about the Asia region. But I really want to point out that, like, Shiva and Kane, for example, have been on a team with Americano and Korn on what's called Donuts USG is the name of the
Which
team.
is an amazing name, by the
And
way.
it's not actually a donut company, which is really sad in a way, but still, the Donut's great name, and they are really good players, really, in their own right.
Japan at some point so I can make all of the katakuri jokes regarding donuts. I know somebody out there is going to get that joke, and I appreciate it for every One Piece fan.
I get that joke, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
I didn't know. Look, see,
a
this
little
is
bit.
why
I get it a little
love
bit.
you.
I know. Well, I'm also a fellow weeb, so.
Well, I mean, you live in Korea. It's a requirement. I'm in Texas. I'm kind of an outlier over there. We've got Brazil that does have a good position inside the circle, but I also want to point out to everybody we have Australia that is also in a very good spot. Chinese Taipei is making an early rotation into this, and UK also playing in Milta proper has themselves a good spot inside of the circle.
Какая-то жесть. Привет, здорово. Так, ну что, это последняя игра на сегодня у нас с вами. И зона такая сочная прямо, да, для бразильцев. Бразильцы и так сейчас на первом месте. Тут же Тайвань катается.
Michael shaking his head a little bit. Things were, obviously not going to plan so far. They were playing out of their minds the other day, but, day to day teams are
А бразильцы достаточно жадно оселись.
just kind of being more aggressive at the right moments. Japan just solidifying their play style, and it's working for them. And I can't believe it's working for Japan, dude. They are playing really.
Они машину подставили, алло.
Everybody in this lobby should start getting scared because there's a thing that's going on. Brazil loves to play no fear.
Чувак на Мумино похож, кстати. Не кажется вам? На фотке, по крайней мере, точно.
And take people in unexpected ways, and that's going to turn a lot of these games on its head. Speaking of turning games on their head, you can see the Chinese Taipei did get into position. UK is pretty close to them as well, but it's going to be Brazil is their closest neighbor. Nobody really doing too many rotations. It feels like we're going to get a lot of in-game rotations in this one, and specifically, I would say a lot of edge fighting, it looks like, just due to the fact that everybody's taking so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a lot of fighting kind of from the farm all the way, kind of if you make a crescent to the prison. There's going to be a fair amount of, people trying to race for position to get in there. But right now, if you were to look at the main map, you would see a lot of teams racing down underneath the lumberyard, more towards Milta Power, Milta Mini, all those things. The reason being that with this initial circle...
Владимир, спасибо за совет. У меня уже есть целый арсенал препаратов. Где-то я это уже видел.
Germany is going to go ahead and make their rotation in, but here's the problem. Vietnam's already ahead of them. Remember, we just saw Chinese Taipei, Brazil, and UK all holding down
Просто гопнули пацана.
They're going to crest past Vietnam, But if they play this any further north than where they're at right now, they're doomed. If they play to the south of it, they're going to bump into Chinese Taipei.
Exactly right. They're just too late on this.
Ой! Ой! Тюрекси приехал?
Gets the headshot and the finish. Now Shaolu on the other side getting some serious damage in. Finland in a lot of trouble.
Can he get these last couple of taps in?
Сейчас еще и Мекси приедет.
Ой!
Ой! Еще и Мекси приехал. Ой, финнов покарали. Китайцы вы жолики, конечно.
Yeah, China kind of dialing up a new kind of idea in their playbook. They've gone for sort of a camp on a rotation path that they've read from Finland. We've seen this a lot with the UK, for example, in this event, where they're setting up a lot of traps for teams in there, at least on day one.
Ну ладно. Я даже лутать его не стал, ты посмотри.
I'm like, where's Miraku?
О, футболист отвалился. Ребята из Аргентины просто рвутся вперед наказать турок. Но нахер! Эх, перекинул. Хорошая была хая.
Doesn't get the damage that they wanted. Smash trying to hold this one up. Doesn't have the vision for it. Gets some shots in, but Turkey is doing a great job on surviving.
I mean, I really want to see Argentina try to finish this fight because they've done a ton of damage to Turkey early, but they just haven't been able to convert on any knock. And now long-range shooting from other teams. Martinson and Silson hitting the drive-by shots. Now it's a response here from Smash trying to get something done. Esky has gone down, but Argentina, that might not be a great spot. Silson kind of had to stop. Smokes are out, so maybe he can survive for a bit longer.
There's going to be some banter off of that one. Argentina pulling away with a drive-by fight over there right in the face of Brazil. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that one as it goes. Fisher's still keeping an eye on how the rotation is going to be moving around them, but Turkey's kind of pinned down as they do have Brazil off on one angle. Keep in mind, Australia is also right off in this position. You can see Germany, we were talking about this rotation, not going to be the friendliest for them as they're still struggling to try to find some way to go as Vietnam is coming up back behind them, but it's also kind of wounded.
Yeah, everybody knows that this circle is pretty likely to be more towards the Milta Mini area. Again, Germany late to this party. A good response, but Hisaki able to get far enough behind the hill that he's able to throw the grenade, let loose with it, but Payne's well
Вкусный кофе все-таки добрался до меня. Даже молоко взбилось сегодня, вчера не взбивалось вообще. Так, ребята из Тайваня решили немцев наказать, да? За что-то.
Germany, where are you even going to go? Looks like they are going to commit into trying to get this one back up, but that means that they're going to have Vietnam that's going to be back behind them. Xavier's on the high ground. Leo tries to go for some.
Фига себе, на одном хп мужчина ушел. Вот насколько же они слабые, я не знаю. Ребята из Тайваня слабые, но вот ребята из Германии выглядят еще слабее, чем ребята из Тайваня.
To the Milta Mini area as they can. Somewhere in between Milta and Milta Power is very likely where the circle is going to end up. And the earlier you can get there, the better, because a lot of this area is flat, wide open stuff without much cover to work with.
And makes for some very interesting endings, specifically that area that's right between the Reds to the south. Okay, let's see Jenko getting some shots in Indonesia at range there. They've got themselves spotted over around Milta. It's long range mostly, so the rest should be able to come through. Yeah, pick them up, move them to a better spot. But really, Thailand's got themselves a wide spread all the way from the bridge up into Milta proper. So if anybody does try to go around that farm line and move south of that, they're going to have to contest against them.
Yeah, I mean, Thailand here has a couple options to rotate as this one very likely, again, moves east. It doesn't have to, but when the circle starts out with this much water in it on the Milta Peninsula, you just kind of assume it's going to be doing that. And they can head, you know, try to move around the coast, try to move to Vietnam's position. There's a hill there that you can mostly stay safe on, keep your vehicle safer. Just go to the edge of the Milta compound.
Я смотрю, китайцы вообще не спешат.
Everybody's trying to get ahead of this. A lot of pre-rotations coming out. Oh my god.
Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Вот это зона! 100 лет такой зоны не видел вообще.
Canada's got the inside track on this one, and it's all going to be coming into this cluster. This is a bottleneck to be had, and Finland realizes...
Охренеть зона, ребят, видали? Вау.
They have a bullet sponge that's going to be coming out and maybe provide them a reprieve so that way they can come around with what's going on. Look at everybody that's going to be trying to cluster into this. It's all about trying to come into the east of this. You've got to
Фишер сейчас улетит в лобби.
There is nowhere to go. There are minimal spots that you're going to be able to stop. Canada gets into one, but it's going to be Finland ends up passing through this one. We also see Argentina trying to make a run at
Финны и так вдвоем остались, ни души.
But to the south, Chinese Taipei has already made a move.
Ну корейцы-то куда? Ну сейчас же из джипика высадят нахрен. Нет. Пацаны из Канады, сори, конечно, но как так можно было? Ни одного не высадили. Просто ни одного не высадили. Индонезия. Корейцы молодцы. Корейцы молодцы! Хорош, пацаны, хорош. Ехали, значит, фуллстаком. Джипенцы.
But narrowly manages to get inside the building. I think stuff is starting to calm down. Nope, never mind. Never mind. China's coming in. We've got Thailand.
И китайцы.
It's never ending.
Просто между всех. Я в шоке от того, как китайцы едут. Я просто в шоке.
Weren't really able to be found. They're going to lose one on the backside as their star player. 8 left, the tires are popped as well. It's so hard to drive those. Getting over to the side of the fence, but how? Where are you going to go? It's so, you're just, I mean, you have a little bit of a, okay, there's a little bit of a ledge.
Как это возможно? Как они проехали?
Your vehicles are donezo.
But I mean, it's better than nothing. How did they run through Canada, Korea, Turkey, Argentina, Brazil, Chinese Taipei, and managed to survive? They should have been dead like 3 times over.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes
Мне просто непонятно, как они доехали. Я не понимаю. Ну, я искренне не понимаю. Они доехали, потеряли всего одного типа. Я в шоке. Я просто в шоке. Они проехали между всеми. Настолько конченного маршрута.
On their way in, and they've got Vietnam at a numbers disadvantage, but so far this tournament, Vietnam has definitely been the better team.
This is going to be very hard for Thailand. Nurens has been putting in some good work for his squad. Turkey goes for a peek that they're going to...
Наверное, нормально. Лерон перед собой дверь закрывает.
The circle is roughly, I don't know, half to a third of what it should be, and so that means the fact that it is just going to be clustered. Anything that is open is just going to eat up more space. So now,
ребята из Индонезии, ой, из Таиланда сейчас умрут.
But it might be too far. Doesn't matter. Vietnam's already got the defensive wall lined up. Nade's going to be tossed over the side of that one. Doesn't connect, but man, this is a big problem. New circle pop still keeps in a huge section of that bay. So now it's just going to be more and more dead space, but most teams are already safe.
Yeah, I mean, Vietnam just doing a good job here, just thwarting Thailand's movement at every
Вау, он еще и нок в ответ дал. Так. О! Отлично. Он еще и поди-ка подымет пацанов своих. Походу они еще подымутся.
He is revealed, but does have a path to make it inside the safe zone. Thailand, though, is still trying to regroup. They've got several down that they're trying to make sure that they keep an eye on. And Anonix is now...
Корейцы просто по камням.
Finland, but I think that Finland's going to go ahead and let them pass by. This is just chaos, man. Everything's moving. I firmly...
Да еще помимо этого еще 10 игр. Не переживай, братан. Все еще на свои места встанет. Бразилия еще опустится на 5-е, 6-е. Где они, кстати? Ай.
Nope, never mind. I thought he was. He's camera baited me. Camera baited me.
Well, he's going for something.
I know, I know.
Sometimes those angles are tricky, man. I mean, I'm really impressed here that Thailand survived that fight. Got a little help from Nile, but really, you know, a big moment for them. It looked like they were going to get
Где там ребята с Бразилии? А, они же на малом заводе сидят. Точно. Они же упали прямо сюда. То-то у них 0 фрагов.
When was the last time you saw 5 teams in multipower? Because we have Argentina, technically Japan, technically Finland,
maybe never,
China and Chinese Taipei and Korea on the outskirts of it.
Matt,
So,
I can't remember a time that I've seen this.
Not in a long time. The
It's
last
been a
time
while.
I saw something that was going to be this messy happening around multipower, Rumblers got fined. So, this is.
Но они тут
this is
ничего не
a big
нафармят.
for everybody, and I think that
Еще
Korea is going
долго.
to be a big beneficiary of this. This position there outside.
I love this
У
spot.
корейцев очень
If this
хорошая
continues to go to
позиция.
multipower, okay, it's going to be hard for everybody else. But if this moves away from multipower, Korea is going to be able to mop up.
Мне
a lot
кажется,
of
сейчас они
You
еще
can
за
see
дропом
almost
сгоняют.
everything all the way to the west and to the southwest in this circle. You
Yeah.
can't see Miltipower and what's north of you, really. I mean, you can kind of run to the hill edges, as you can see they're doing, and get an idea of what's happening on the edges of Miltipower, but that's it. But the circle's pretty likely to move either hard north or hard west. Like, well, I shouldn't say pretty likely. It pretty much has to, because it has to cut out as much water as possible.
Он реально за дропом поехал, нет? Машину просто переставил. Ну ладно.
Of course, going to be in play. So, but I like this spot because you can get a ton of information from it safely.
Milta Factory or Small Power, whatever you want to call it, could be a key component inside this based off the way the circle shifts. There's also the hills that are going to be to the west and the south.
Так, сейчас будет 4-я фаза от воды.
Points for this circle. Yep, no surprise, goes right over there. So that means the fact that there is some of Milta Power proper still in play. We do have Thailand that's going to have to move. Indonesia's player is going to
Куда
have to move.
поедут корейцы?
Vietnam's player is going to have to move, but I think that
Где-то
most of
тут
the
будут
attention
вставать?
is going to be drawn
Или в
into
завод,
Power's
или по... Ну, блин,
Yeah,
пока
I mean,
рано и
Milta
куда-то
Mini here for Brazil
еще
is
так.
defendable, but sometimes difficult. Oh, Luna gets one.
Get it!
Oh, he tries to free fire.
That was
Can't find the
close.
second digger.
Хорошо,
Just a
1
little
хп просто.
HP almost gets the 2v1. Turkey runs in, going for
Турки
the stun
сдохнут
right
сейчас.
at the logs, but I mean that's going to be in nade range. Got to be very careful of that one. Turkey already realizing that, going to hop out.
Турки, походу, про бревно забыли.
Assaults all around. Argentina already hopping inside vehicles. They did leave 2 of their members back in the Wizard Tower, but the other 2 coming in.
Ребята
Brazil
из
is gonna be holding down
Тая
the
очень
center
рано
point,
в
but
ту
there are
яму
2
заехали.
targets trying to hold down. China already hopped in vehicles. They're going to be rolling right in between China.
Китайцы поехали, китайцы!
It is going to be sure on chaos, as I think that China is
О
going to be crashing
боже.
in very close to where we see that hillside, but Thailand has already moved, and it's going to be nowhere for China to stop at.
Yeah, I thought China might try to take the bottom right corner of Milta Mini
Oh,
here.
that's bad.
But there's just too much action, and they're a little bit too scared. Meanwhile, Korea
will see that.
They're really going to flank this out. Yep, exactly. This beach is just kind of
Those
sloped
beaches.
enough that you're able to stay safe behind it. You're going to get the level 3 gear there for Seoul at the very least. Grenade here for Haven, going to be cooked, thrown out. Doesn't do too much damage, though, as the vehicles kind of being shifted around by Argentina. They're trying to find some kind of foothold to get through this fence line.
This is going to be very rough for Brazil because they can't even step out too far. They are going to get shot. Nice airbar is going to land right on top of
Это
Seoul.
была хорошая хае,
These guys
кстати.
now know who they're going
Прям мне
against and know
понравилась
exactly
такая
how they're gonna be
хае.
playing. These guys have been playing against each other for so long. Argentina and Brazil, these guys are very often on teams together. So this is going to be a little bit of jockeying, I would say, for pride in what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, again, anybody who's, either played or watched knows how difficult it is. That player was already dead. Yeah, it's already, Xavier stole it.
Молик тоже был неплохой.
It's so hard to assault this compound if you have a, kind of rapid response.
Турки еще не сдохли, что ли?
Oh, Vietnam. Who are you going to give the skill point to? Is it China? Is it Korea? I don't know. It's one of the 2 of them. It's going to be Korea. So, now then, I think that we're finally getting the calm. Korea's going to
У азиатов ротации вообще мощные.
I do like Korea's split over here. They've got a lot of vision on what's going on. But if they have to move, they are pretty much screwed.
It's hard to move off of that beach, no doubt about it. So it takes
Блин,
good
очень
timing and
хороший
good
аим, я
patience,
посмотрел,
and then,
да?
hopefully you can find some point where you're either able to.
Look at what they have to rotate through right there.
Yeah. No. It's near impossible, and so you're either looking at trying to. You're probably going to stay on the side of the road until you absolutely have to leave it. Then you're going to try to either push through Milta Mini, which is near impossible, as you just saw with Argentina try to take their hand at it, or they have to wrap around to either the north or the south.
Сейчас зона плюс-минус сюда. Вот так, не?
Okay, Brazil
Смотрим.
definitely in the strong position, but it's inversely strong in the fact of how many people could be eyeing to assault it.
Default.
With this now said, the remnants of Argentina, Finland, and Canada are going to be looking to assault from the north. Korea is going to have to make their move, but UK, who has been very quiet today,
Корейцам по-хорошему надо подождать, пока с большого завода выдавят людей. И потом подъезжать под забор завода. Наверное, так.
Finland still trying to bully their way through Milta Power, and it has to happen now as Circle's left them, but you know, with the full forces of Chinese Taipei barreling down on them, good luck.
You got to give it to Finland. They are trying. They know that they want to climb the leaderboard, but very outnumbered at this stage. Well played coming out from them. Korea hears that firefight, looking into it, and now Argentina making a back rotation into this, hearing a firefight, thinking maybe they can third party. Problem is, there's no chance to. It's already finished down. It's going to be Finna now getting at range, taking some shots to them as well, and you can see this is going to be the nature of the beast for everybody that's trying to rotate in. Just vision, third, fourth, fifth party popping off.
Yeah, exactly. Korea has to.
Ну, надо китайцев убить.
I know. You just have to.
Надо им просто влетать в них. Да куда?
That's huge. That's that level 3 gun, that level 3 gear that they had reached out to the beach to pick up earlier on the ground. Let's see if they can recover Seoul.
Oh no, Korea's trying to fight their way through this one, but guess what? Chinese Taipei does hear this. I was afraid that they just might run through the smokes and just try to run them over. Instead, Chinese Taipei makes a run to factory itself.
Вот, и Ноникс поехал.
Opportunities moving forward. It looks like they're just going to roll right into it. Jumps up.
Да как?
Goes for the shot. Does go down. Can we see the rest of Korea try to capitalize off of this? It's going to be
Зипьян сразу же руинит.
Okay, well now they got to follow up. They had to go for the res on his soul. He's just going to get re-knocked.
Сеул опять в ноке.
I know they've got
У корейцев все в говне.
To send it on to China. They're going to be going for the res and they're probably going to get it.
With the amount of time this is now taken, they are just trapped out here. The blue is going to be coming after them. Argentina is.
Как турки сюда подошли, я не понимаю.
Into where we can see that Turkey's going to be defending, but Turkey has been doing a very good job at ruining the dreams of everybody from North America so far today.
Yeah, oh, that's a stun there. I thought it might be a frag. If it was, it could be pretty damaging to the side of Canada. They have to abandon Seoul, so probably transferring over whatever they could, but Ali has a great angle, and it's going to be actually VHCs from Brazil that gets a knock on the lash.
Loki does survive, but Ali RV is behind him. Spots out what's going on, seeing if maybe he can connect. The blue does get enough of it, and he's going to take out Loki. It's going to be Sparking.
Корейцы, к сожалению,
And
отъехали.
I think finally it's starting to settle down.
Yeah, it's so difficult to push off of that beach.
Ребята из Бразилии сделали 4 фрага.
They're so weak, and that's going to be good enough.
Турки закрыли Канаду.
Turkey going to finish off Canada.
Turkey doing pretty well today.
2 фрага сделали ребята из Британии. Ё-моё.
Brazil, though, still in a comfortable position, now getting far more uncomfortable by the second.
В говно приехали ребята из Британии, но им надо Таиланд закрывать.
The rest of Brazil is having to move out and figure out what's going on. They do get 2 knocks on what's going on with Chinese Taipei, but now have a knock of their own.
Chinese Taipei.
Them trying to find the angles for it. Haven cannot quite find the angle to work with.
Ой, ну как он так, зачем он так быканул? Ребята с Бразилии сейчас отъедут, походу.
They love this corner. I've seen the Chinese teams do this all the time, where they're going to start splashing grenades in, up and over with the underhands to try to breach through the walls.
Ming realizing how he needs to go through this one, but Vehicle doing a good job on providing some cover for him to work with. China used the opportunity to sneak into this spot. So 3 teams all fighting for this one. Sparking did leave his high ground position, is now coming in.
Блин, китайцы на удивление живут в этой игре, а?
Whoever manages to win this is going to have the easiest path into the next circle.
Yeah, I mean, if Brazil can hold on here, they're looking really good for this next game. And
T-Bone
tries to push up
еще.
over the hill, but Escaliza is going to find the headshot, and Vard immediately trades up. United Kingdom here trying to breach through that grenade. So close. Michael is so low.
Junko and the rest of Thailand is trying to hold this, but I mean, he's the last member up. He's afraid to go for any form of res. He does have UK that's right next to him. The reinforcements for UK
Ну слишком долго. Они не успеют сейчас Майкла спасти.
UK could come in and provide some reinforcements and get the reses into it.
Не Майкла, а кто там был у них?
In multiple locations. Brazil is getting spotted out, and now it is just Sparking.
Успевают, что ли?
As it's continual fight between these guys.
Zipian accidentally shot Ming in the head there. They're both trying to kind of watch the same angle down that fence line. And
О, сгорели все.
Punish this. The last Molly in the back just comes up short. So Ming gonna continue to crawl back to ZP stun over the wall though. Sparking trying to he faked a bit so he can go for the res.
Do note those cars lined up against the wall. That is so important in how you see these assaults come in. They've been eating a lot of the nades. They've been providing the cover that was very necessary for these teams to hold this position. Sparking did get the res onto VHZ as Yan Li is doing a good job of surviving. Chinese Taipei sitting at 10 kills. This has been a very active movement coming out from them. China also getting into a spot that they just, I mean, there was a desperation play, but somehow still surviving. Do note though, nobody is really moving.
Но китайцы нормально, кстати, они еще поживут.
Milta small, however you want to call it, and getting into a good spot to play from. China is going to opt to play to the south of it. That means that we're going to start seeing vision between them, and
Как же ему не везет.
Either player can finish the other off before China gets involved in this, but it's sparking from afar. Yeah, it was going to put Yan Li inside of the security officer's house, and he's got to go for the heal. Should be able to get it. I don't suspect there's much utility. Oh, he's got him. Oh, around the window, gets the headshot, finishes the job.
Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой.
Get a little help from the blue along the way.
Еще я
Back down in
выжил.
the south, you can see it's going to be USA versus Australia, and Australia is coming in with some gusto. They're putting in some work on USA.
Ну, ребята тут из Америки стопудово отъезжают, они тут в бутерброде хорошеньком, таком сочненьком. Ну, я думаю, все в руках United Kingdom. Сейчас надо австралийцам закрывать турков и играть поверху.
Eventually, somebody's going to have to push up and over. It's going to be tough for Australia here to get up and over on foot. I'm not sure if they have any vehicles.
Скорее всего, эту игру и заберут ребята из UK.
That adrenaline syringe is going to have to be doing some work, given the amount of enemies that are around Kickstart right now. The way this is lined up, though, it is hillside to hillside, so...
Не забывайте про лайк, ребят, кто не поставил еще. А турки спокойно на завод проходят, потому что некому их смотреть заводы, там почти все сдохли. Австралийцы не успевают.
Turkey here. Oh my goodness, Monty almost got the knock there on the smash. They're going to be able to vault up and over safely here behind this silo.
Застрял!
Heels should be good to go. So a nice little maneuver. Nice
Умер!
Oh no, he stood up on top of the wall and Tiggleton punishes it.
Man, you cannot do that around Tig. He will not let it happen. Australia now counter moving into this.
Они сейчас поедут, их запушат.
Split. I wouldn't say it's quite that just yet, but they're kind of dancing around trying to defend each other. VHC looking down into China, trying to get some shots into Ming Ming, but it's going to be VHC that's on the bad end of those bullets. So now he does manage to hold out in this spot, tries to get some more, but it's going to be very hard to finish anything. He knows the assault is going to have to come by working their way up through this or a beautifully tossed nade. But China had to throw everything just to get into this stage.
Oh, certainly, yeah. They are very low on utility. VHZ there kind of catching Ming Ming by surprise.
Ming Ming
probably expecting that VHZ was going to go for the heal based on the amount of
Почему он Мин Минг? Мин Минг. Не понял я.
Now VHZ is in an awkward position. Like this particular.
Потому что у него 2М, типа, его читают Миминг.
It's so hard to defend, and especially as a solo, you can see that there's just people all around this, and you have to assume somebody's going to come after you at some point. Sure, he's got the high ground, but that just means as he's moving around...
Бразилии везет зоной. Я же говорю, Бразилии пока везет. Вот эти вот дни, они чисто на везении сейчас, на мой взгляд.
You know, overview on the circle, certainly that's nice, but again, like you mentioned, because he's a solo, it's not as powerful a position as you.
Как сегодня закрыл чувак из Вьетнама 3 финнов, трех американцев. Когда уже бразильцы посыпались, можно сказать. Везет им, я согласен.
Turkey is still back behind this and is probably going to assault along this path once this firefight ends.
Yeah, you see China heard VHC moving there, so eyes up as he goes back up to that rooftop. Australia, yeah, still plenty of vehicles here to make a maneuver. Yeah, I mean, they might just swing around the southern edge here, kind of work their way through.
Да нет, увидишь еще, Бразилия вниз упадет завтра. Я тебе говорю. Маны у них, мана сегодня кончится у них.
Strong. It is going to be very hard to assault from this angle. Really, it's the remnants over here that are going to have the best one, but hey, I guess if you're just driving around shooting whatever you want, you can come from any...
Австралийцы вообще не уверенно отыгрывают. Куда они там дальше играть собрались? Я не понимаю, что они делают?
Like you were talking about earlier, it's so challenging to get up and over that ledge with everybody aware of that position and knowing how dangerous it is to give him any opportunity to take shots.
You got to give it to VHZ. This is now 2 times in a row. He has done a great job of surviving for Brazil.
Great
in a
job.
Desperate situation, and he's still going for weeks. It's not like he's just playing this passive. China now has spotted out Turkey. tries to get them dropped, but it's just a damage. It's gonna be Luke at range that hits it beyond. So now
Как туркам везет.
control over this area. UK lined up against them to the southeast of their point, but Australia is just looking to the north.
Oh, VHC wanted to go for the finish onto China there, but couldn't quite connect on the follow-up shots. Now you've got Turkey wrapped around in front of him, and here goes VHC, lighten up.
Ой, бразилец на зид. Ой, бразилец на зид.
Oh my God, he's got one. Can he get more?
Goes for the jump down. This is gonna hurt, but it doesn't matter. Does get him some cover from the wall, and now trying to assault what's going on around. Gets the read on it, but it's gonna be Ming Ming that takes him down. Now we're in R4. Ming Ming and Turkey still alive.
Да.
Australia lining in.
Ну, австралийцы сами виноваты. Сыграли как Валеры. Ну, реально, просто с такой игрой. Просто Минг их всех трахает. А, ну все, сгорел.
Oh, of all the ways for that to end, that's gonna hurt.
Oh man, I thought Ming Ming might be on a tear there, but what a molly from Australia to finish the job. And now there's the AWM that's going to fall into the hands of Luke 12. But the full forces of the UK, man, this is going to take incredible shooting. That's not bad.
On both sides of it, tapping into each other. Fex gets the better end of it, though. Now
Just
just one member up. Australia's split got to try to do something. UK has been on a roll yesterday, and now finding their strength on Erangel yet again. Come up alive.
У них там что по инфе? Почему они по другое дерево молики кидают?
Does get one of them down. Reveals his position. There you go. UK picks up another one.
UK выиграли. Ну, тут было очевидно. Еще 10 минут назад, да? Что позиция у них достаточно хорошая. Ну что, чат? Вот и закончился второй день. Завтра будем смотреть третий день. К сожалению, болит у меня спина. Сегодня половина стрима я не был с вами, я валялся на диване. Надеюсь, вечером стрима, короче, не будет. Надеюсь, до завтра у меня плюс-минус все наладится. Так что буду поправляться. Все, давайте. Всем спасибо за компанию. Все, давайте, увидимся завтра. Пока-пока. Не забудьте подписаться на канал, не забудьте подписаться на Телеграм для того, чтобы получать уведомления своевременно и все новости там про меня узнавать. И лайк поставьте. Все, давайте, я убежал. Покедва.